Hello, friends, and welcome back to the Deeg podcast. Today, I am so happy to present for you a conversation with Preston Collins, better known to some of you as Brazil. An ex Guild Wars 2 creator, he has traveled a long way through gaming and past it to get to where he is today. And we had a great conversation all about struggling in life, how that shows up in the way we use video games, and how to get past it and move on with life eventually. Um, this is a great conversation for anyone who's ever felt similarly stuck and wants to know if there's anything on the other side. Spoiler alert, there is. If you want to hear us talk about that, please continue listening and enjoy. Now, here's my conversation with Preston.
Yeah, I think it's a combination of like bootleg Windows that has all of the Microsoft telemetry and shit like gutted out of it, and like I don't know, drivers like having voice meter and then taking that out and not having it has probably done something at some point.
Voice
But
meter is
like,
so rowdy.
dude, I need to just like on a weekend reformat and reinstall everything, and it'll
Yeah,
probably be fine. I just don't want to. Fuck, I
yeah,
just don't want to do it.
yeah. I haven't done a reformat since I built this computer in 2019. So I,
Yeah.
I, I don't know. It used to be something I kind of look forward to, but these days it's just like, shit. Do I really have to? Oh man, what's happened to us?
We went from Android users to iPhone users. We just want square buttons that work when you press them.
Yeah, yeah. There's something to that. Like I don't know. Maybe it's just getting old. Like the young always make fun of the old for not being able to adapt to new technology, right? It's
Yeah.
seems like that kind of learning is sort of the province of the young in some way. I saw a headline recently. So are you familiar with the idea of neuroplasticity?
I don't know, but that sounds like a big word, and I wonder if we should just start recording and talk about this.
I'm already recording. We can
Oh,
include it or not,
okay.
whatever.
Hi, welcome to the Deeg podcast, everyone. I'm your host Preston, and this is my guest Deeg. Today we're going to talk about neuroplasticity, and he's about to explain it because I don't know what it means.
Thank you so much for having me, Preston. It's been a long time, brother.
Yeah.
What happened to your hair before we get into neuroplasticity?
The neuroplasticity, it all just fell out. Neuroelasticity. I don't fucking I okay, so what actually happened to it is I started to lose some in the back here, like guys do whenever it's a thing that
Yeah,
happens to lots of guys.
I'm familiar.
And I like to wear hats because I think hats look cool, but like I didn't want to look like the jackass who like looks like he wears hats because he's self-conscious and like tries to pretend that he has hair, because like in reality, like I just like to fucking wear hats.
Okay,
And
okay.
I thought I should probably just like, I don't it's gonna fall out. It's already started.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to get used to the look at some point.
yeah.
And like I don't want to deal with people like silently judging me about something that's stupid and trivial. It's like
Mm.
fuck it, I'll just own the look and just cut it off. And so like I just shaved it, and I still wear hats sometimes because I like to wear hats. I have a fucking vintage Soldier Boy Yums hat, which no one's gonna know what Yums is. It's a shoe
Yeah.
brand from
Okay.
Dallas. But like,
All right.
dude, I don't know, hats are cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not a
And
hat
so
into actually, I've just been getting into hats recently. What kind of hats do you so, like, for me, the purpose of a hat is to not get sunburned on my head.
yeah. I have a giant like old grandma like sun hat that has a thing that goes down over like the back of my neck too,
Oh, yeah, like
and I
a little bit
wear
of
that if
cloth.
I yeah, if I'm outside like taking pictures like in an event or doing something all day, I just wear that. Or if I go out walking or something, like I'll wear that when I walk. But it's just I kind of like the functionality of it because I don't have like it takes 3 minutes to take a shower now. It just boop,
Oh
and then
god, it's
boop,
beautiful, isn't
and
it?
yeah, it's just done.
Grooming is so easy without hair. It's
Yeah.
amazing. I just have a body groomer that I just run over my chin and my head once a day. Like, takes me 5
Yep.
minutes. That's it. I haven't paid for a haircut in a long time.
I miss my barber. He was really cool. He was
Oh, yeah.
super gay, but he was like Texas gay. He like
Okay.
it's weird. It's like he's gay, but he doesn't like gay people because he complains about them being gay. And it's just really funny and ironic. He's just like, I just all these other guys out there, they're just this gay Texan votes Republican. I'm sorry, but and it's such a contradiction of a human, but he's such a fun and wonderful guy.
That's
But yeah,
beautiful. That's
yeah, it's
beautiful.
so it's wild. He's a cool guy, but
Man,
I don't know. Yeah,
Texas. Dude, I was talking to someone from Texas yesterday. It made me think, man, maybe I gotta go down there. Like, there's some I think a lot of interesting humans probably live in Texas.
Texas is a wild place. There's a this will actually be fun for other people too. There's an Instagram and a Twitter called Dallas Texas TV, and it's just constant like video clips and pictures of the most chaotic, unhinged, just all kinds of shit happening. And they recently like re-legalized the electric scooters on street corners in Dallas again.
Uh-huh.
Immediately, like that account is just filled with people driving them down the expressway, throwing them into trash cans, people like destroying them. It's just like, yeah, yeah, this it's Texas. People, I don't know, they just see something and get mad and they just do something about it. But it's a it's a weird place. I live in a really liberal area, and Austin is a really liberal area too.
Uh-huh.
But it's kind of like everyone knows that I'm not super conservative or anything, but it's like maybe we should be just a little conservative about some things because if we don't, we saw what happened in California. And all the cool people from California are like, yeah, it's time to get out of there. Texas seems okay. And so I don't know. It's an interesting place. It's wild. Like you'll see. It's just it's unreal. It's the only place I've been stranger than Texas is Florida, and Florida was like living in a video game. They don't have there aren't squirrels in Florida. There are iguanas instead.
Oh, that
Like
is, like,
you'll just see
weird.
iguanas going up trees and falling out and
It's
like
like going
hitting
to
the
another
road and
biome
stuff.
in, like, a video game, like you're saying.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I was on a business trip to Florida with a friend recently. We had to go down and do some stuff, and we were sitting at on the porch of our hotel on Wednesday at like 1 in the morning, like eating sub sandwiches, and we were watching people across the street in the Waffle House parking lot just fighting, just like beating each other up and yelling. It was crazy. It's just like shit.
Shit goes
It's
down at
like
the Wahoo.
video game Texas is what Florida is.
I lived in South Carolina for a bunch of years, so that's my exposure to Waffle House. I know that shit goes down at the Waffle House. It seems to attract it.
Yeah, it does. I don't. What was neuroplasticity though? I
Oh
just kind of
god.
came back to that.
Yeah, yeah. We were talking about reformatting computers and becoming
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
complacent users of technology.
We're old now.
So neuroplasticity, I was linking it back to this thing that I heard. So neuroplasticity is like it's kind of like the ability of the brain to remake itself and change. It's like how much can you learn? How quickly can you learn? We all think the children sort of have the province, have like the monopoly on neuroplasticity. They're the ones who are changing, who can learn things really fast. You can't teach a language to someone older than 20, whatever, like that kind of idea. And but I saw a really interesting thing, and I don't know if it's true. I'm not a scientist, whatever. Um, that it was from Dr. K, the guy who runs Healthy Gamer. I'm not sure if you've heard of it. He was in an interview with someone I was watching, and he said that there's a study or some studies that suggest that neuroplasticity, and he used the word neurogenesis, which sounds way more badass. Uh, Neurogenesis is linked to the fasting state. So
Interesting.
and he suggested that maybe the reason people are dumb and learn slow isn't because they're too old, but because they've too they're too well fed. And that in a sense, I think he suggested that uh the brain makes itself ready for learning when the body is low on resources. It's kind of like an adaptation thing. Whereas if you're well fed, your body's like, fuck it. We figured it out. You don't need to learn anything, you know?
That makes me think about a couple of things.
Okay.
Well, so I guess actually the second thing that comes to mind, because I don't really want to talk about the first thing that comes to mind,
Oh, okay.
but the second thing that comes to mind is like I've been it's related to the first thing. I had a powerful experience a little while ago, and yeah, and part of that involved, I guess, like deconstructing my relationship with food and
Mm,
figuring stuff out. And as I like now, I've really changed my approach just to like, I don't know, like how I eat, and just like it's different. It's
mhm,
different now. It's like I eat so I can do things and like feel good, and so
mhm.
a friend of mine said you should just try eating potatoes for like a week and see if you can do it. And I said, okay, I'll try it. And so I did, and it was it was kind of interesting because I felt like physically I did feel like I had less energy. Well,
Mm,
not necessarily less energy. It's like I could summon energy when I needed to, but it wouldn't be as long lasting. But like I didn't feel like I was going to die or anything
okay.
like weird. It's just kind of like ugh, I
Yeah,
just
you were
kind
a
of
little
like
lower than normal. Okay.
yeah. But I definitely did feel like my head was trying to compensate for it was like I was trying to like play everything and like go solo, rather like if I was interacting with someone, instead of making it more of like a conversation and
Yeah.
two-way, I would
Yeah.
focus more on what they were doing and try to be very succinct and careful about how I addressed them and like what I did things with, because I was like I can't like turn on the like personality button right now. I don't have the power for that. It's like I gotta do that when I need to. I have to make
Sounds
it
like
count.
fight
I
or
have to
flight
focus.
almost.
Yeah, it's weird. And I caught myself the other day because I've like really I just enjoy kind of eating like fruit and vegetables and potatoes now.
Oh, okay.
Weirdly enough, like I don't really eat meat anymore unless I'm gonna be like really busy for a
Ah, yeah,
couple of
you told me
days.
about this.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
I'll eat like chicken or something. I've liked tofu for a long time. I was like,
Oh,
oh cool, I'll eat tofu. I'll eat more of that. Chipotle has tofu. I didn't know that. That's cool.
okay.
But yeah, like so it's just dude, it's different. I've talked to some people about that, and I was like, I think I've accidentally become vegan or like vegetarian. I just kind of like how this works.
By
I really
mistake? Yeah.
yeah, I enjoyed whenever I was working out like a gorilla, just like an insane person,
Unga
like
bunga.
3 hours a day at 4 in the morning. It
Yeah.
was really cool to eat like meat and vegetables, and just like it was awesome. Like I just felt good, but I had like really bad. I I developed gout from that, and so like my ankles just constantly felt like I was walking with broken glass inside my
Ah,
legs, and I had to
ah.
start taking medicine for it. And now that I don't eat meat anymore, really, like rarely, it's like I don't have to take the medicine for that because it's just not a problem.
Maybe gout is
And
more common than I thought it was, 'cause you're the second person who I know well, who I was surprised to learn has dealt with gout.
it's like
A young
everyone in
person
my
too.
family has it. Yeah,
Okay.
my I don't know how genetic it is, but like
Oh,
everyone has it in my family, and like everybody's like a lot of us are really overweight. Some of it definitely, I'm not gonna say that it was genetic for me to like be fat. It was more that like my grandma would let me eat whatever I wanted as a kid when I would come over, and home life wasn't so great, and so having an escape and sugar
Yeah.
made me feel good. And there's a lot of learned behavior in that.
That is
So
like the exact same thing for me, by the way. Grandma's
yeah,
house is a place where like it's like you just go, you pig out, no judgment.
yes. Yeah, it was exactly that. And she's just like, "Oh, if you just feel good, like I don't know, it makes me feel good." And
Oh, yeah.
she's like genuinely genuinely she is the happiest person I've it's confusing how many times she's been like about to die and in the hospital with like insane inconceivable medical problems, and she's just like, yeah, well, everything's good. I just feel pretty good. It's just like it's she doesn't have the infrastructure to like feel sad or depressed.
Oh,
Like
interesting.
she's in a hospital bed, like 80 years old. She's like, I really want to watch Tarzan. He's really cute. Can you put Tarzan on the TV?
Like,
And
okay,
she's just happy.
that's weird.
She
So
just
there
doesn't
must be a
care.
word for this. So so people get sad all the time, right? Because bad shit happens to them and they feel bad. Natural. People who are sad without having reasons to feel sad are depressed, right? That's one extreme. And your grandma is somewhere on this other extreme, where she has reasons to feel sad, but she's just like,
Yeah,
I
I
just need
just
my
don't. I
Tarzan and
don't.
I'm good.
Yeah, I just don't think she cares about like it. There is a level of deficiency with certain feelings, as far as I can tell, that's kind of got a little bit of a genetic pattern as well, kind of in my biology and
What do
family
you see of
tree.
that in yourself?
Oh, that's a deep one.
Okay. Well, actually, let's reel it back a little bit because we started by talking
Okay,
about neurogenesis and relationship with
yeah,
food, and you become a vegan. So
yeah,
let's hear the
accidentally.
story about how that happened. I don't think we talked about that last year, right? So
I don't think so. No.
brief history for anyone listening to this is this is the third time I've had you on the Deeg podcast, right? 2 years ago or 3 years ago, I think it was 2 years ago. We did a one on one, our kind of introduction. Last year, we brought Inks in, and you, me, and him had the heavyweights podcast where we talked about losing weight. Inks, man, I hope you're doing well wherever you are, man. Um, and we talked a little bit about health stuff there. So I'm gonna try to not retread too much of that stuff. But we haven't talked about this story of you giving up meat, becoming a vegan. Um, how did your relationship with food start to change?
Oh, yeah, this is a cool one. It was a very chaotic experience. It was like worldview altering, and I effectively just like realized and really deconstructed myself and my personality and had some help doing so. And it's like, okay, I know what it's like to be abused. I've had some shit happen to me that like was rough, difficult, but I'm over it, past it, and it it doesn't weigh on me anymore. It's something that I can say that I've moved past and learned from, and
Okay,
I try my best to be understanding of other people and use it as a
sounds like you've worked
positive,
on it.
even though it was
Yeah.
yes. And I came to realize like I'm just abusing myself. Like I
Mm.
have an abusive relationship with me,
Ooh.
because what happens when I feel bad, Preston, you really just need to go get a milkshake right now. It's going to make those feelings go away. You're going to feel better. Let's do it. Come on, man. It's going to be okay just this one time. Honestly, while we're there, we probably just need a soda and a large fries. It's like
Yeah.
it's just one time. It's going to be okay. That's that's textbook abuse. Like it just is. Like
Mm.
it's the same thing as like let's go do this thing. Like who's really going to love you? Like it's just me. I'm the only one that's here for you. Everyone else hates you. It's
Mhm.
like you're gaslighting yourself. You're physically like hurting yourself, you're treating yourself like shit. And seeing it from that perspective was just like, what am I doing and why
Yeah.
am I doing this?
That's a big
Like,
reframing
why?
moment. What provoked that realization?
Uh,
Well, you're being coy with me, Preston.
yeah, I am. I
Like a
drank
like a
something and it
wallflower
made
at the
me
dance.
see a lot of colors.
All right. All right. All
And
right.
um yeah, and like there's that, and it's like, and then it's like anyway, I got later on, I was exhausted later and tired, and I was like, I need to eat something. Like, I feel really fucking miserable. I need energy. And I thought, did I just say I need energy and that's why I need to eat? I'm like,
Oh.
what? I've never, when was the last time I ever had that thought? Like,
Uh-huh.
what the fuck?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I just ate some fruit and it was really good. And I don't know how many people know this about me, but I guess it's just been a thing forever. But I see numbers and letters and color when I look at them, and
Oh,
like,
like a
depending,
synesthesia is what that's called, I
yes,
think. Yeah. Yeah.
that's what it's called. And like, certain circumstances and certain types of music will like evoke a sense of like feeling and colors. And I have some kind of association with like colors and the way they communicate and how they can be used to communicate things.
Huh.
Um, and so like anyways, where was I going with that? Fuck. And so like I was like, oh damn, like
Fruit?
fruit, it's
Yeah.
colors, it's juicy, it like has all these textures, and I was just thinking about it differently. And then
Uh-huh.
I was like, okay, I want to try some bread, and I ate bread, like I ate a croissant, and I was like, why would anyone ever eat this? This is just like, it's dead, it's flaky, like it's just like, there's butter, but it's like it's dry. There's nothing to this. Like, this doesn't serve me to eat this. Like, what
Huh.
good is it gonna do me?
Huh.
And I was like,
This is
okay,
not good for
well,
the engine. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. And so, anyways,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
there was, it was pretty whack to just like stuff that's so obvious. It's like I was reading the fifth grade like science textbook about like, your metabolism and you exercise to burn energy and the five food groups and all that shit. But it's like, oh yeah, that's just real. I just like, I don't know. I was so obsessed with being like trying to not feel bad and like just hating myself and just eating garbage food. And so I don't know. It was weird. It's
Yeah.
wild, but
Yeah. Yeah. So, can we talk about the funny drink that made you see colors?
are you sure?
I'm sure. Dude, psychedelic what else are podcasts for other than talking about psychedelic experiences?
I don't know. It was, yeah, it was it was pretty brutal.
I'm curious. I don't know anything about this shit other than what you've sort of hinted at. And look, if you don't want to talk about it, that's okay. But it's clear that like it's a moment in your life, and it's just like I want to hear the story.
It's genuinely, it's almost like, it's kind of bullshit for me to say this, and it might
Okay.
be frustrating,
Hmm.
but it's almost like it's pointless to talk about if, or to try to explain if someone hasn't had an experience like that, because it's just like, it, dude, like, Mark Zuckerberg might be an alien. I don't fucking care.
He
Maybe
looks
he
like
just
one a
like
little bit.
knows he's kind of a jackass and evil. But like,
Yeah,
dude,
a little bit.
you see all kinds of crazy shit happens and you think about things so differently, and it's like a couple hours, but it's also like it's 30 years,
Mm.
and it's just like, huh, okay. There's so much stuff wrong and there's so much stuff that's going right. Like, I can do good things. There's a lot of evil and bad out there,
Yeah.
but I don't have to do that. I can do good stuff. I can, you know, I have value and skills that I can make things and do things and create things and
Mm.
contribute to the world. And like I'm just
And did you
bad
have that
things are gonna
sense
happen.
before this experience, or is that something that followed it?
I had a sense of like there's a lot of injustice and there's a lot
Right,
of like I felt the need to take responsibility and do something big about it.
right. We talked about
And
your time photographing the homeless and
yes,
your journey kind of getting to understand that problem the first time we talked.
it was a very extreme approach, very like involved, very like it taxing. Like there was a lot of I was in a lot of danger, like several
Yeah.
times, like almost getting mugged, being like I got pissed on by some guy, like
I
do all
re-listened to
kinds of
that part of our podcast, and it made me chuckle out loud while I was out walking the
yeah,
other
it's
day.
dude, there's some there's a lot of wild stuff that happened. Like it just
Yeah.
got kind of crazy. But now it's like, hold on, I just noticed that this
Yeah,
is
sure.
probably a little bit too loud. Okay, that's probably better. But now it's like what like who am I to just immediately expect to do something huge and world moving just all of a sudden out of nowhere? Like I'm not
Right.
like I'm just a like I'm not good enough to do that.
Yeah.
But I am good enough to take a bunch of little steps and do a bunch of little things and like affect people's lives positively and like I don't know, just do little stuff over as much time as I can and as much
Yeah.
of it as I can. And like
Yeah.
every interaction that I have with someone, like why would it why does it have to be negative? Why does it have to be bad? And beforehand that was always in my head. It's kind of like I want to do good things and like treat people well and be kind, but I wouldn't ever think twice about like railing on something and like shit talking and like making jokes at the expense of something else to like
Like legendary
puff
armor.
myself off and sound funny. Yeah, exactly. And that started to like shift, but this really kicked it over the edge. It was kind of
I see.
like now it's like I can't help but think of that. And I'm not perfect by any means. I don't
Mhm.
want to make it sound as if I've got everything solved, but now it's like, damn, like it would be funny if I did this and I could make a really crazy and funny, like high IQ joke and people would laugh. But like, should I do that? Or should I just like do and make something cool that like everyone could enjoy? And
Mm.
like, I don't know, it just makes sense to do things that way.
Sure.
It's different. And
Yeah, yeah. What you're describing, that path of, like, kind of thinking in a way that's, I don't know, maybe outcome oriented? I'm not sure if that's a fair way to describe it, but, like, where you're thinking about where you want to end up. Like, "Oh, I want to be someone who makes an impact. I want to be someone who makes a joke. I want to be someone who" whatever. Um, to being someone who thinks about not what you can be or who you can be, but what you can do. That's a change actually that I've gone through too in the last couple years. And it's got nothing to do with psychedelics for me. It's a little bit of a different story, but I relate to it, man. And I think that probably at the end of the day, you have to see the world and most things in it as in most situations as who can I be here and also what can I do? Like if you tilt too heavily one way or the other, things can go weird and awkwardly. And
yeah, and sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
no, I was just
If
doing
you
a
had
little bit of
something to
shitty
say.
armchair philosophy. Please cut me off.
Oh, okay. I was just gonna say
Please.
it used to and I have to be careful with how I say this because I don't want people to take it in a way that is not what I mean. I used to get really like I was just like fuck dude, like this is really heavy. This is really weighing on me. And after a while it's kind of like you see bad things a lot and it's just kind of like I would get frustrated with myself that my response to it wasn't as heavy as I wanted it to be.
Mm,
Like I didn't feel like I would get mad that like I didn't feel bad enough to want to try harder to fix something.
sure.
And I mean, bad things. This is where I have to be careful because
Okay.
there's a realization that everyone like should, I think, just have, where it's like bad shit's just gonna happen. Like there's gonna be like natural disasters and crazy people that do crazy shit, and letting that like affect you in such a way that it prevents you from just saying, okay, like that fucking sucks. Let me just keep going and do what I can. I may not be able to do everything and fix everything. I'm going to focus on what I can do to do the good that I can. That's how I've had to reframe it, rather than like I have to keep like taking insane risks and doing crazy stuff and like being in dangerous situations and spending all of my money and buying all kinds of stuff that like I just, it's not feasible for me to do
Mhm.
because I have to save the world and end homelessness. It's like
Mhm.
now I see it as like if I establish myself and do worthwhile things and you know just take the time to like be nice to people and make friends with like everybody that I meet, just like treat everybody like, a human,
Yeah.
then, and if I continue to work really hard and get really good at what I do, maybe down the line I'll be in a position where like I generate enough income to where like I can just go, like if I run into somebody that's like really just like beaten down and like they're out of options, be like, hey, look, I can teach you to do this. You want to help me out? And I'll pay you. Like I've been really interested in potentially like mentoring people and like teaching, really like teaching people like how to do the things that I do and like how to like craft and compose photos and about like different stuff, because I interact with people on a daily basis that like push button, camera, take picture. They don't think about it and they just don't care. And it's like it would be awesome to see someone that really wants to learn and they just don't know where to get started because
Mhm.
like maybe shit's going wrong. That's the
Mm.
type of person that like I am perfectly designed as an individual to reach out and help, because
Mm.
like I used to think, because of like the awful shit that happened to me when I was a kid, I even like said something about this to you I think a while back. I was like, I'm like 30 years old and I just feel like a broken kid. Like I
Mhm.
feel like life is just a prank and it's just pointless.
Yeah.
Um, but it's like I have 30 years of knowing what it's like to just for shit to just suck and to wake up every day and like not really be okay with that. And it's like, why did I have to wake up? I guess I just have to be awake now and just maybe I won't tomorrow. Like that was a mindset that I had.
Mhm.
And over the past like 5 years, I've gotten really interested in cameras and taking pictures. And it's like, okay, look, I have 30 years of experience of dealing with pain and just like unfun stuff. Maybe I can knock a couple of years of that off of someone else's life. I can catch them in a moment where things suck and say like, "Hey, look, it's going to be okay."
Yeah.
Like I see the trajectory you could be on. Let me help you get there. And I don't think I'm alone in that. I think
Share
that
the
like
love.
probably everybody out there watching or listening or whatever, like I don't know, like you just be nice to someone and like that may be genuinely like life altering for them. Maybe they just need somebody to listen to them like somewhere. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. Little things are really can be really impactful and really big. And so I've got to I recognize that for me to be a worthwhile teacher to someone else and have as much to offer is that I can't stop learning things. I can't stop doing stuff. I have to continue to improve and grow and like figure shit out and never get arrogant and content. Um, and I don't know, like I just hope that I can help people as I go on and contribute to counteracting all the bad that's just going to happen anyways with stuff
Mhm.
like that. So,
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. I love that, man. It sounds like you're talking about me when you describe some of this stuff. So it's probably really really easy for us to talk about this. Like, I don't know, I've always been interested in what people do and why, and I've had my moments of feeling really annoyed at what people say and do, and sometimes wanting to take the piss out of them to be like, "You idiot." uh, but much like what you're describing, I feel like I've gotten to a point where I don't know, like life is really hard. It's hard for every person to figure out their unique path through it and the map that they have to deal with. And like I don't want this to get too like high level whatever, but I think there's like a personality component to it too, where people who are sort of a little more tuned in to wanting to take action and interested in in other people, like naturally want to get out there and help people make things better. I definitely feel that way too. And like one of the things I'm really passionate about, and I'm still figuring out how to channel that passion, is helping people not get stuck playing video games for a decade in their 20s and losing out on whatever else it is that they could be doing to grow. And not that video games are a terrible and bad thing, but that, they are easily used by people who are having a hard time facing up to the bigger challenges. And, I'm like exhibit A here. You said about your first 30 years for me, it's about my first 40. Turning 40 in September. I remember when my dad turned 40, thinking, shit, he's old. And now it's me, and now it's my turn. What the fuck, man? I I don't even know what that means anymore. Um, but okay, maybe we can back this up still to you said earlier that with the psychedelic experience you have, that it's sort of pointless to explain this because there's not enough that a person could relate to unless they've gone through a similar experience. I don't I'm just gonna respect that and not poke into it. I don't want to make anyone uncomfortable. But I do wanna like help maybe anyone who's listening to this get a handle on it. Like, do you think that you said that that experience helped kind of push you over the edge with some things? Do you think you would have gotten there without having that experience? With your relationship with food and your relationship with all this stuff, it sounds like it's all related.
I I think it's possible to do, but the biggest way to think about this, I think, or maybe the best way to think about this, is that your sense of time and self are so like non-existent.
Mm,
Genuinely, it feels like through the length, the duration of it, like it could be 30 years, like it could be 100. Like there are people that talk about, yeah, I lived an entire life and then I died and then I was a dog and like I lived a life as a dog and had a dog wife and had little dog puppies and then I was adopted by a nice family and then I died and then I was a person again and then like it's like, and that's, I don't know if it's your brain working so rapidly that you're just like and you just have 30 years worth of thoughts and
mm,
like memories or visualizations in
sure.
the span of like a couple hours, or if it's just like you just leave your body and go somewhere else and then come back. Like I don't know.
Mhm.
Like it, I don't know how to explain it. I don't really think anyone does. Like I've heard a lot of interesting ideas about it, and like the best I can say is like, well, maybe you could think about it this way. But the sense of like it's like you get multiple lifetimes worth of experiences,
Mhm.
just like here it is.
Overnight. Yeah.
Yeah, and you come back and you're just like, yeah, it's just like I know, like I know what to do now. Like I have things to think about and things to work on, And so like it's just
Huh.
like cool, I'm gonna do that.
Yeah.
And so that's I think that might be for a lot of people the most helpful way to think about it,
Mhm.
because you could spend like I could have I probably would have, and to a degree still will spend the rest of my life like thinking about food and what to do with it.
Yeah.
um
Kind of got to.
but like it's like there's a little loop, there's like a little bell curve, like a little bump in the graph right in the middle where it's like we have 700 years of experience with what we do about food. I have an edge up on all the other people that are also in
Interesting.
this struggle. And so like I mean, I don't know, like there's,
Yeah.
as far
Yeah.
as like what it's actually like, it's like there's just there just aren't like people have what like five senses, like touch, smell, like sight, sound, like you hear stuff like in like in stuff like that. There are points and times where you don't have any of those, like, or you might just have one. Like I
Hmm.
completely lost my sense of taste for like a whole day,
Hmm.
and was like just learning about like how good food was and like what you're supposed, like it's like you can't taste anything right now. Are you still going to go eat a cheeseburger when you can't taste anything? No,
Hmm.
didn't think so, because you really just want the feelings that it tasting good gives you. That's really what you're trying to get out of that
Sure.
cheeseburger.
Sure.
You don't need it. You need to eat this. And it's just
Yeah.
like fuck, yeah, that's right. Um
Interesting.
but
Interesting.
yeah,
It sounds
it's
like whatever the mechanism is, it gives you it like I don't know, like I can sort of infer it like shutting off certain parts of your cognition. And then
or here's an interesting thing. People talk about how like there were aliens and spirits, and they had so much to teach me, and they taught me all of these things,
yeah.
and God was there, and God and Jesus were explaining the my struggle with this problem.
Mhm.
Or like maybe the plants absorbed all of the memories from these people that went into the dirt when they died, and those memories are being put into me. I don't fucking know, like
Sure.
it could easily be any or all of those things.
Sure.
But like
It's a
really
strong
what's happening,
metaphorical language, if nothing else.
but like you get in it and you're just like, yeah, yeah, I get it now.
Sure.
Uh-huh.
Sure. Sure.
And like
Shit.
if you don't like it's
I gotta try it.
yeah, it's
That was what you told
dude.
me when you mentioned when you first told me you did this, is that I think you, of all people I know, this is you talking to me. I would be the person of all people you know who would get something out of an experience like that.
Yeah.
What about me makes you think that?
You really like to just have a dialogue. You like to listen for a while and like pick little things and be like, "Can you tell me more about this?" But you always have something meaningful to add to it and like use to pivot on to the next topic. Like you're it's like the equivalent of like what I do with like photography. It's like I take a picture and know what colors look good and how to
Yeah.
tweak contrast and how to light shit and like angles and composite. But it's like you're really good at, I don't know, navigating through language and communication.
Okay.
And it's a really you're doing the same thing as like someone that would paint, or like a musician that would play an instrument. You're just, I don't know, doing it with like words and people and
Medium of
conversations.
conversation.
Yeah, and so to me, it's like literally, it would be, it's a really cool thought to see like Deeg and like Deeg's glowing ego spirit like at a table in space with like the universe like spinning around and two microphones talking to each other.
Yes.
And but also it's like I think you would, it would just, I don't know, like
God, I would love to talk to myself. I try to do it all day long, you know?
yeah. Yeah, it's different. It's dude,
Ah,
it's
shit.
different.
Okay.
It's pretty fucking
I
wild.
love that image of the space table. Okay. Okay. So how did you get turned on to the idea of doing this? Like, obviously, you went through this incredible experience, but you must have heard about it, thought about it, decided to do it. What was that like?
I heard about it probably like 6 or 7 years ago, um, through someone that like I knew at the time, and they mentioned it, and genuinely like I just got to the point. I was just it's kind of like ooh, that might be interesting. That's kind of scary. I don't know if I want to do this. No, I'm fine. I'm doing good, and it stayed at like it's kind of for some people, I guess the people that it would be valuable for,
Mm,
I think kind of like hear it and it sticks in the back of your head and it's like a little itch and it
yeah.
like eventually you're just like fuck, okay, I'm going to give up. And for some people they're just like some people just don't
Just let
care
it go.
and like I don't think it's for everybody.
Mhm,
But and so like I was just at a point where I was just like I don't know what I'm going to do. I am so just like unhappy. It's just like fuck. And
mhm,
then I said I just really need to focus on my health and getting shit like back in order. And then like come to find out like I was like I'm not sleeping. Like I feel tired. Like it doesn't matter how long I sleep. I
mhm.
just feel like shit all day
Yeah,
long,
when we
7 days a
talked
week.
last year, like, you
Yeah.
talked about, like, you almost like a like, kind of like a manic cycle when it comes to stuff, like, you just like, "I'm gonna lose weight," and then you just don't eat for a week and work out 20 hours a day, and then the next week you go back to normal, right? Or I'm exaggerating, but maybe not that much with you.
Not that much.
Uh, and, that's hard that's hard on a person, and also, almost anything worth doing takes a long fucking time to do.
Yeah, and so I said like I need to just like I was in a position where like I guess I just had some realizations on my own and like finally just admitted some stuff to myself. It's like, look, shit happened and it sucks. Do I want to give up or do I want to keep going?
Mm,
And I didn't say no. Didn't say that I wanted to give up.
'kay.
I didn't really answer. And to me, it was like, well, if I didn't say no, I mean, I may as well just
Yeah.
see what I can find out. And so, like, I went into the doctor. Um, I went into a doctor to ask about like getting tested for sleep apnea because like literally like I just felt exhausted, like I couldn't think.
Mhm,
um Dude, it was really bad. And like I
mhm.
after the fifth time I fell asleep like in traffic while I was on the highway coming home from work, I was like I have to do something about this because I'm just gonna die on the road and like it's just gonna be really bad. And so I go in, like we did a sleep study, and he just like comes in and like sits down with the paperwork, and he's just like, okay, so I think it was like the like number of like apneas that you have were like sleep apnea for people that don't like know what I'm talking about. So you're asleep and you like go to take a breath to breathe in and then you just stop.
Yeah.
And like it's like the air doesn't go down, you don't take anything in because you like choke and suffocate, and your
Yeah.
brain like wakes up and it's like fuck, I'm
Your
gonna
brain's like,
die.
"Shit, I need oxygen. Wake the fuck up."
Yes, but you're constantly in this state. Every time that happens it's like you wake up but you don't get consciousness necessarily.
Right.
And I the
And you don't
reason I
remember
went
when it
in,
happens. Sorry,
yeah,
you're preaching to the choir with me, so that's why I'm adding things. Go on.
I recorded myself with my camera. I set a camera up and like fucking like every 3 seconds I was just like my eyes would open and I would like gasp for air and
Oh,
then just like go
god.
back. And
It's so
so I go in
dramatic.
anyways. We're talking about the results. He says 0 to 5 is like that's that's you've got something going on. He was like 5 to 15 is moderate. 15 to 30 is really severe. Like
Uh-huh.
that's really gonna inhibit your
Is
functioning.
that interruptions per hour? Is that what that is?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah. Yours is 97. he says, dude, you stop breathing 97 times an hour. That's more than once a minute. And I was just like, I believe that. Yeah, I could. I was like, I believe that.
You don't say.
Um, basically. And so he was like, we need to check some other stuff too. So they checked my testosterone.
Uh-huh.
And it was really frustrating because I was like, this is like, yeah, like it's probably low because like I don't work out and I don't feel good. And so, anyways, we tested it twice.
Yeah.
And he said that like 3 to 500 is like, it's all right.
Yeah.
Like work with that. It's good. He
Yeah.
said like 700 to 1,000 is like rock star.
Mm.
Mine was 50
Hmm.
the first time and then like 64 the next time.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, yeah, dude, like your grandma probably has literally he says your grandma's probably got more testosterone than you. And I said, she's dead. And he says, still. And I was like, okay, cool. So let's figure this out. And so like I got those two things sorted out and I was like, fuck, like I kind of feel like a human again. Like I feel like
Sleep
I can
and
do
your testosterone
things.
levels, right?
Yeah.
So for sleep,
And it was
go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah, I have a CPAP machine. I
Right.
put this thing on and I have a tube that comes out of the side of my head. Not
Yeah.
literally, it just sits on top. It's a
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
in its
It's
skull.
beautiful.
Anyways,
It's like an octopus, just like being all up
yeah,
in your shit.
yeah. It's it's kind of annoying. It was really annoying the first like week and I was like I just need to get used to this and it'll be fine. And I just got used to it and
Mm-hmm.
like fuck, like god damn.
Blue
Things are so
skies,
much
the
better now.
clouds part,
Yeah.
the water parts.
Yeah. It's like if I sleep, if I get in bed and sleep for 8 hours, I wake up and I can just feel like I can go climb a mountain. And if I sleep like 4 hours because I was working my ass off editing and stuff, and then wake up and drink like half a cup of coffee, I'm just like, yep, let's go. Let's do it. And it's just like, I just getting that stuff sorted out. And then finally, I think there's a degree of things just happen because they're supposed to. Take it for what it is. You can agree with that or not. And I'm not saying that in any kind of extreme because terrible shit happens.
Give me
And
an
I don't
example.
mean to.
I don't know what you're talking about.
That was where I was going. So
Yeah.
someone came into my life and they're like, "Hey, I'm gonna go do this thing because I have some stuff I need to resolve and get over. You want to go?" And I was like,
Oh, sure.
someone told me about that a long time ago.
Yeah.
I was curious about
It
it and
came
I
back
said,
around.
let's do it. So that was kind of like the cherry on top of the sundae that I'm not going to eat because sundaes are bad for me, but I ate. If you get what I'm saying. It was just like
Yeah.
that really just that was like somebody threw a 90-mile-an-hour fastball at me and I just like got it and just slapped it out of the park with a bat.
Uh-huh.
And
Uh-huh.
just that just like hit everything over the edge and I was like, okay, cool. 30
So
years are gone, like let's do it again. Let's kick
let's
ass
do it
every
again.
day.
Let's turn it around. So sleep, that's one. Testosterone was two. So what do you do for testosterone, if you don't mind me asking?
I get a shot once a
Okay.
week
Okay.
and I don't know that that's the best way to do that
Yeah.
or to solve that problem. I don't like I'm I'm like I wasn't entirely unhealthy at one point. Like I was in good shape and then got really overweight, got into really good shape again and then got really unhealthy again. And I
Yeah.
don't know, I don't basically we talked and we're like we can spend a while like figuring out like why this happened and why it is.
Or just
You
go
could
for
have
it.
just we could just go for it and like your body's fucked anyways, like let's just be real. And I was like, yeah, it is. He's just like do you want to like what do you want to do? And I was like, just give me the shots, let's just do it. And so I don't know, I don't know if I'll regret that in the future.
Yeah.
There are consequences to all of that stuff, but
Have you been tested again since you started doing the testosterone? Do you know what your
yeah, I
levels are
have.
now?
Yeah, it's like 5 to 600
Okay.
depending. So
That's
really,
around where I'm sitting today.
yeah,
And
yeah.
when I got tested, for the same thing, for the same reasons, I was at like 100-ish. So the guy was like, "You're not like sick or anything, but you probably would feel a lot better." And I was like, "All right." I didn't really believe him, right? And he gave me the option of doing the shot like you or a few other options, but the most simplest one was just this pill called clomiphene citrate. It's actually like a fertility drug or something for women. But anyway, um, yeah, after about a month, I really noticed feeling different, feeling better. And unlike you, I did it separately from my sleep. So for me, the CPAP thing happened like 10 years ago. Um, and very similar story to yours, by the way, with just being a complete zombie and then waking up one day and being like, oh my God, I'm alive. With the CPAP mask on my face. And and people don't know the way a CPAP works is it just blows air into your face holes. That's all it does. There's complicated versions of it that'll like vary the pressure and stuff, or ramp it up, or add humidity and stuff to make it more comfortable. But at the end of the day, it's just shoving air into your face holes so that you don't stop breathing. Pretty simple. Um, and yeah, so I actually went in to go get checked again earlier this year, and the guy's like, "You're doing great." I told him about my weight loss. He's like, "Hell yeah, man, let's go." And then he's like, "But you're let's get you tested." And sure enough, my estrogen levels were high because apparently, if you have a lot of belly fat, that's estrogenergic. Another great polysyllabic word. And this the clomiphene that I take apparently it stimulates sexual hormones or some shit. I don't know. So I started taking like an estrogen blocker too, and I'm not sure if that's working or not, but I'm watching for side effects and shit. But for me with the testosterone, what I noticed is that uh, I had more energy and attention and focus. Like I just feel much more primed and ready, like in my thinking and in my body and in other ways too. Um, so I don't know, like in a lot of ways, I feel almost like a slightly different person. I actually there's this personality test that I took in just a few months before I started taking the testosterone treatment. It's a Big Five assessment. Big Five personality is the dimensions are openness, agreeableness, um, conscientiousness, neuroticism, and extroversion. Those are the Big Five personality dimensions. And I took it before, and then I took it again a year later when I was a few months into the testosterone treatment and feeling different and feeling better and more energized. And I came out different, man. My personality, like, tests have changed. My Myers-Briggs changed too. I went from being, I went from being someone who seemed to be a polite, worried introvert to someone who was a brisk, assertive extrovert verging on asshole. Maybe I even get there sometimes. I don't know. People can let me know. The only thing that didn't change from year to year was my openness dimension, which has been high both times. It's just how much are you interested in stuff? It's a big part of like the reason I do the podcast because I fucking want to know what else is out there. What other people think. But anyway, I'm just like I am whatever the mechanism are, and the fact that they're this similar to mine is cool. But I think it's so cool that you feel better. I think it's really fucking
Yeah,
cool. I think it's really fucking cool. But I want to pivot slightly, if I can,
sure.
and ask you a question, a reflective question about the time before. I want to ask you about Brazil, okay?
Okay.
Because you told me this we kind of created this little story of like um being unhealthy, not feeling good, and taking things out on people maybe, and then all getting on top of things and realizing things and going from someone who's trying to do big dramatic gestures and to someone who's like kind of trying to do the work piece by piece, day by day. Maybe that's not a great characterization. Please jump in if it's getting anything wrong. But when I look back at Brazil and the way that you presented yourself to the Guild Wars 2 scene, what I see is, yes, you, the unique person that's there, Preston, but on top of Preston, like a bunch of layers of just being unhealthy, feeling like shit. Is that fair?
I guess, I mean, this is interesting to think about because I don't play video games. I don't have Guild Wars 2 installed on my computer anymore.
Okay.
I haven't played a video game in like 6 months.
Wow.
Maybe longer. I don't
Have
know.
you gone that
Genuinely, like
long,
it's
like in your adult life? 6 months without playing a video game? Is this like a first for
no,
you, or?
no,
Yeah.
not since I was probably like 17.
Okay.
Um, s- Probably 17. Yeah.
Okay.
Um, I I just don't care. Like I don't. I loosely keep up with some stuff that goes on,
Mm-hmm.
but it's just like I don't want to spend another second playing a video game when there's so much cool shit to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to I have to be careful about saying this because when we think back on sometimes you eat two cheeseburgers instead of the cheeseburgers and fries, right? Because
Yeah.
sometimes you got to do what's as much right as you can, I guess. So you got to make the best choice when it's going to suck. However you want to think
Make the
about it.
best. Make lemonade out of
Yeah.
lemons.
Yeah, and I just genuinely believed like I don't want to make it sound like just the worst things happened to me and I've had the worst life in the history of like any human existing like but like I had some really fucked up stuff happen to me. People did things to me that like I don't know, it's just I was treated in terrible ways and when you're a kid and you grow up and it just never stops and like you
Mm-hmm.
only just see like abusive people
Mm.
doing awful things, it's just like yeah, this is just how people are, this is just how everyone is.
Yeah.
And you get into school and like religious infrastructures where the people who have authority and are supposed to be good just do the same things on the whole, um, and they treat you like shit because you're the kid that just gets treated like shit and you're not. Anyways, so I
I
was
think
just
there are a
like, yeah,
lot of people
it's
who
just
can relate to what you just described. I don't.
you genuinely just think, yeah, people are just assholes, so may as well like that's
Everything's
this is
fucked.
how this is how I survived. I survived by sucking it up and just being a hard ass. And people are assholes, so why should I be any different? The
Yeah.
really poisonous thing about me personally is that like I have a difficult time empathizing with people and things because of I don't think I've ever really said this to anybody,
Okay.
but like I have a couple of diagnoses for things and I don't like to talk about it very much. I'll
Okay.
talk about like one here or there individually. Like I don't want to sound like a fucking Tumblr post, like somebody that's just googling symptoms. Oh, I have this one and I have this one. I have this one. I have 19 different things, and that explains. No, like
Uh huh.
being autistic makes it really difficult to like empathize and process feelings. I just
Sure.
genuinely thought for a long time that like I was like, "Oh, yeah, bro, I don't have feelings. I don't know. Like I just that's clearly wasn't true because like I got mad, I felt sad, like anyways,
Mm-hmm.
I just didn't
Mm-hmm.
know what to do with them or how to handle them.
Mm.
So it got really dangerous because mistreated, treated like shit, unfavorable circumstances. Pair that with someone who's very analytical and aware, studies things very
Yeah.
meticulously,
Yeah.
doesn't empathize well, and really likes comedy and humor. whoa,
Wow.
we have an asshole. and and so I realized, oh hey, people will like me if I make funny jokes. And I understand like being disliked, and I can find why other people are disliked, and I can make a joke out of that, and it makes me feel better. And
Hmm.
I don't really care if they feel bad, because why would I? Like I don't even like it
You can
does.
be the coolest asshole.
That's just how they are.
Yeah.
Like,
Fuck them.
and so like I just fucking did that, and like I happen to be really good at Guild Wars 2, like,
Yeah.
and I get bored of things very easily, and like love learning everything I can about stupid little obsessions.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, oh yeah, I could
Like a
do that.
raw.
I could probably make, yeah, like I could just be the best person at doing this.
Uh-huh.
And so like I would just do it, and then I started recording it and putting it on the end. Like I I'm really glad that I missed the like Twitch streamer millionaire window by a couple years, because like dude, I'm like, anyways, it's fine.
It makes you
Everything's good.
feel some sympathy for the people who actually got there and like, whew, man,
Yeah, it
what's it like to
does.
be them?
And I don't know. But it was just a singularity for just being a dick online. And it's all online, so it's like the other people aren't real anyways, so
Mm.
we're gonna make some jokes. And
God.
so it helped me cope with the life that I had experienced at the expense of other people. I was s- protecting myself from my feelings of discomfort and pain at the expense of others. Like
Hmm.
it is just like, why would I do that? Like I look back on it now and I just hate it. It's just like, why? Like it
Yeah.
fucking,
Yeah.
it sucks that I did that, but I recognize and realize I can't go back in time. I can't fix this. Like
Hmm.
there are some people that I've reached out to and just been like, hey, look, sorry, you don't have to like me or forgive me. Just want you to know that like what I did was shit,
Hmm.
and I recognize that, and you obviously already knew that. And now it's just like, now it's like every day it's just like, okay, like that's one less day that I've got. Like let's do cool shit. Let's do
Hmm.
something. I want to feel like I'm doing something fulfilling. I want to be able to help other people and help them with things that I can help them with and
Yeah.
do cool stuff. And I don't know, like in video games kept me from like like, I'll just be honest, like I probably would have killed myself if I didn't have something to hide away in and process all of the feelings. Like it's just real. Like that's, and I'm not the
Hmm.
only one that feels that way. I know there are other
I'm
people
sure that's
listening
true.
right now. There's probably people in that spot right now,
Hmm.
and it's, sometimes you're just there. I don't know if it's okay to be there. I don't know if it's not okay to be there. I don't know the answer for you or your life or your
Yeah.
circumstances. All that I know is that sometimes people are there, and if
Yeah.
the door is in front of you and you're gonna open it, I don't like,
Yeah.
you don't have to open it. There, I managed to get past, and I don't think that way anymore. Now it's just like I can't wait to fucking go to sleep and have cool dreams and wake up and do shit the next
Have
day.
another cool day to do
Um,
stuff. Yeah.
and like I'll just be real. Like there are people that don't. I'll talk about some experiences that I had. That this is probably not going to be easy to do. I don't know how I'll react to this, but just for the sake of
Okay.
being open and because they might be helpful.
Okay.
When I was in high school, I was like physically hurt a lot.
Mm.
Just talked down to, like beat up. Like I got,
Bullied.
yeah, like I got, I got into a fight with someone one time, and like I'm a big dude, and I have been for like most of my life.
Mhm.
And someone was making fun of me about having man boobs and being
Mm,
fat.
mm.
And they got physical. They put their hands on me, and like I didn't want to fight, and I didn't want to hurt anybody. I just wanted them to stop. And so like I'm here having this like meltdown, like please just stop doing this to me. And they wouldn't. And so like I just like punched and like kind of caught them like in the side of their head, and their response was to like get really close into me, and they bit my nipple through my shirt almost entirely off because haha,
Ah,
fat kid man boobs. It was dangling and flapping. It had to be stitched back on. I
what a
got held down in the
psycho.
shower. I got held down in the shower in athletics after class one day, and kids pissed on me. Um, Touched in ways that were just, I still don't really have the ability to talk about that stuff in depth.
Fuck, man.
Some fucked up shit happened. And I just say that because it's still difficult, but that stuff doesn't hold me back anymore. And I know there are people out there that have it worse than I did, um, a lot worse. And seriously, it probably might just feel like everything is stacked up against you. And it did for me for a long time, but me and plenty of other people have conquered that and said, fuck it. Like, there's bad shit out there. Like, I don't have to contribute to the bad shit. I don't
Mhm.
have to let that ruin the rest of my life,
Mhm.
even though it fucked everything up until this moment where it finally clicked and I made the decision that, like, I'm just gonna take another step and move forward.
Mhm.
Um, so I hope that's helpful. I wasn't expecting to go there or get there, but fuck it. Like, dude, if I can't name that stuff and say like it's bullshit if I can just sit here and talk about like how I've moved on and how everything's fine now. If I can't just name examples and say fuck it, it happened. Like
Yeah.
we're gonna move on.
Yeah.
And so
By naming it,
I
you
don't.
also gain a sort of power over it, a grip on it that you
You
can't
do.
if it just lives in your mind unspoken.
Yeah, you do. And like it's not a it can be an overnight process with the right cocktails and the
With
right
the
shit.
right beverage.
But you see things that you might not want to see from perspectives you might not want to see them. And like it's
That sounds like the product of
there
wisdom.
there are options. Like
Mm.
you can get 0.000321% better each day. And then maybe one day you're like, I'm fucking sick of taking baby steps. You know what? I'm gonna take a big step. I'm gonna do something cool. For
Yeah.
me, like 5 years ago, I don't really just want to take screenshots in Skyrim anymore. I want to get a camera and take a picture of the city
Mm.
and the ocean and the bay. And I climbed up onto the top of a 20-story fucking office building and took a panoramic of downtown Corpus Christi and was just like oddly at peace with the fact that like I could have fallen over the edge of the building and splatted on the concrete,
Mm.
but like I finally fucking did something that I always wanted to do.
Cool.
And it felt so good to just do that.
That's cool.
And now, like now I don't think of myself as a photographer anymore. I think of myself as like this singularity of like artistic just chaos and like the ability to like reach out and craft cool things that other people can borrow because they don't have it. So
Mhm.
someone comes to me and they're like, I really want some portraits. I'm like, tell me about yourself and what do you want to communicate? Let's
Mm.
do that.
Mm.
I can figure it out. And if I can't, it's a good learning experience. And sometimes I take bad pictures and they suck. But guess what? Like tomorrow's going to be there. I can take a better picture tomorrow and learn
Yeah.
from that.
Yeah.
And so like
You can't learn without failing
that's
a little bit.
you can't. You
Yeah.
have to just have to come to terms with being bad at everything that you do. Like
Yeah.
no one's ever gonna be. AI might be perfect at things one day, but that's only gonna happen because humans failed so many times and we had an infinite amount of just stuff to feed into the algorithm to teach it. I don't know, but
AI, man.
yeah, yeah, some
Yeah.
some shit. So keep your head up
Yeah.
if you want to keep it up, and if you
Yeah.
can't, then this, sometimes you just can't. But just it can get better. It's
Yeah.
possible.
Yeah. It's okay to put it down for a little while. To go watch all the Avengers movies back to back to back, play an MMO, whatever it takes to feel better. But you hope that over time, you stop needing those things as much. You do that 0.00038% better one day over the next. Fuck. Thank you for sharing that, Preston. And now that you've shared this tender story, I need a short bathroom break.
All right.
Should we take 3?
Yeah, let's do that.
All right. Be right back.
Cool.
All good?
Yeah.
Uh, is that your what is that up over your right shoulder?
It is becoming a turtle habitat.
Huh.
So it's I have a lot of camera stuff and a lot of audio stuff. And I ran out of space to put it all.
Uh-huh.
And a turtle came into my life.
Huh.
And he was upside down in the road and just in his shell, and I was like, fuck, I've been upside down in the road in my shell where everything's hopeless, and like I just needed someone to pick me up and help me out. And so anyways, he's in the backyard right now enjoying the humidity in Texas because I guess turtles like humidity.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's the bottom level, like in here, is like a shelf for camera stuff, and then there's
Mm-hmm.
some little organizers underneath that. And then this is like a 6 foot by 2 foot, just like thing filled with substrate and dirt, and it's gonna have some more stuff in it, and then he's gonna live there. But yeah,
What's his name?
Flipper, because he flips over.
Flipper the turtle.
Yeah, that's kind of an asshole name, but I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought it was fitting and funny.
Yeah.
Just,
Yeah. Yeah. Uh, what what do turtles do all day?
they just kind of hang out and walk around. Like
Okay.
they just kind of sit and look. Like genuinely, like they don't do a lot. In the morning, he crawls around the backyard and like he'll eat some fruit and mealworms, and he'll just kind of like just walk around and just look at stuff. And then whenever it gets kind of super hot, he just hangs out under like a rock or a tree or something and just goes in his shell and just looks around.
Okay.
But like like I've never really seen turtles. Like it's not like they don't play video games. Like they don't drive cars or go to work. It's like animals kind of just
How
hang out a
disappointing.
lot. Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool, man. Flipper the turtle. We gotta get a picture when you get a chance.
Yeah, yeah, I'll do that.
Well, I've been thinking about the story you shared, Preston, and we talked earlier about wanting to help people, and I could tell by the way you were describing it that you were thinking about the other people out there who might be dealing with the same thing. Um, do you have the impression that there are a lot of folks out there who are dealing with similar things and kind of are the people who are maybe the assholes in our video game communities? Is that something that you feel like you've observed or you can see now, or is that a fair thing to say?
Genuinely, like everyone hurts to a
Yeah.
degree. It's not like it's not like you're gonna sit down with just 10 random people and be like, okay, yeah, these three are kind of fucked up and they have some shit. Everyone else is perfect and fine. Like, no, it's like
Is a degree.
10 out of 10 people like deal with shit. 100 out of 100 people deal with shit.
Yep.
And they all handle it differently too.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how many people there are in the world, but every one of them is unique. But there's overlap between like the little nuances, and like, I don't know, I've met some people that like, produce music, or like, I just different people that make different kinds of art, and it's like there seems to be a tendency that like people that make really cool art have experienced unfortunate things.
Yeah.
um and I think there are a variety of reasons for why that is, because when shit gets bad, it's like, I don't know, you want to hide, like you want somewhere to go that makes you feel good. And so if that's learning an instrument, some people do that and they
Yeah.
figure it out. And I don't know, some people play video games and they make online friends. And genuinely, like, it's just easy to play video games, and video games are, I believe that video games are and can be a form of art, an art form. Like, you look at like Majora's Mask. That's one of my favorite games of all time. You
Mm.
just like, it's really easy to just play as a fun game and overlook all of the stuff in it. But you like deconstruct it and take it apart. And you're like, what the hell
This
is
goes
this
kind of
game?
deep.
Yeah. And now video games are designed to like employ shitloads of people and be profitable and pay executives and corporations. And
Big business. It's the biggest
yeah, it's a
the
business
biggest
now.
entertainment industry in the world. Bigger than movies,
Yeah.
bigger than TV,
So, and like,
music.
I look at camera manufacturers and like camera stuff now. Like, the most recent camera that I own, like the newest camera that I own, is like 4 years old.
Uh-huh.
My favorite, like, literally my favorite camera, second favorite camera, is this. It's a Canon FTQL. I love this thing. Like, I don't,
Okay.
if I want to shoot film, like, we're gonna go have a good day. Second favorite camera, my Fuji X-T1. This is like an 11, 12, maybe 10-ish year old camera. Um, Everyone will tell you, oh, it's just, well, it really wasn't even that good when it came out. The autofocus is not very good. They'll give you a million reasons why you need to buy the best thing, the current best.
Yeah.
I take good pictures with it.
Hmm.
Weird. Like, the autofocus is fine most of the time. If it's not, guess what I do? I put on a lens from my FTQL that was made in 1960. I manual focus
Hmm.
because I know what I want to focus on. I know how to turn the fucking wheel, the dial or whatever on the side.
Yeah.
I'll just focus myself. Like,
Hmm.
I've shot events with that. Like, I've done like work for homeless shelters and like taking pictures of like people speaking and giving presentations, manual focusing with a 55 and an 85 millimeter prime lens with like no lights or anything. It was just like with one camera body. Like, I would literally just swap them off if I needed a longer reach. And you can't do that with for pro work. You need a real camera for professional work. I use a Canon 5D Mark IV and a 90D with a 70 to 200 and a 24 to 105 for like high school graduations and stuff. Like, yeah,
Uh,
they're good cameras.
yeah.
But I can take good pictures. I could take good pictures with like wax paper and like a lighter, and like, you can, if it catches light, like, I could probably take a good picture with it. If I
Sure.
could translate light in something, and like with a lens, like, I could take a good picture because I
So
know what I have something in my head that I want to
yeah,
communicate. I just
yeah.
figure out how to communicate it.
Where are you
But
going with this though?
yeah, so where I'm going with that is like, I got obsessed with this and something that like video games used to be an art form. I think now they're not. Camera manufacturers now like AI focus and subject detection. It's like you don't need that. Like I could go if I want to play a video game, I could go play Majora's Mask again. I could go play Star Fox Adventures on the
Yeah.
GameCube, even though it sucks. But I really liked that game. Like if I just want to take a break, I could do something cool with my time, not be hooked on Diablo 4
Not be
because
caught
it's a
in the
nostalgic
rat race.
experience, but pay all the money to get your
Constantly
max
recapturing with
character.
the newest nostalgia bait, constantly
Yeah.
recapturing that thing.
Yeah, it's I know what's cool and what I want to do.
Yeah.
I don't need the best stuff. I just need what will let me do and communicate what's up here. I don't need cheeseburgers and french fries and milkshakes to
Uh-huh.
feel good.
Uh-huh.
If I eat some fruit and potatoes and go walk a mile, I'm going to feel way better for way longer and I'll feel even better tomorrow.
Mhm.
Rather than like whenever I eat Whataburger 3 times a day and get on the scale and tomorrow I'm a pound heavier, I'm just like, why did I do that?
Mhm. Mhm.
What like just genuinely, it's okay to play games. It's okay to do stuff. But if you do bad things that are a waste of your time, they're going to make you unhappy.
Yeah.
They're going to kick you in the direction you don't want to be going. You're going to be an unhappy person. It's going to be easier to make other people unhappy
Game's
and
gonna
do
play
shitty
you,
things.
not you
Yeah,
it.
yeah, exactly. Like, I don't know. It just, I'm not anti a video game. I'm not anti people that play video games. I just think it's worth considering, is this going to get me where I want to go?
Uh-huh.
That actually specifically is something that I ask myself all the time now. I'm just like, is this going to help me get closer to where I want to be?
Yeah. I think
If it's a yes, super easy, do it. If it's a no, sometimes I still get conflicted, but like
yeah.
I'll compromise a little bit
Yeah.
or just I just don't do it.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel the
And
same.
you have to make sacrifices. Like Reddit shut down and people lived, and I'm sure there are a lot of people on both sides of that were like, where are all these people going to do? All they do is post on Reddit all
Oh,
day. Like they're weird. Everyone survived.
I
Most
don't miss
most
those
of
Reddit
them did.
communities, man. It's
Yeah,
funny
dude.
how much I don't miss it.
Yeah,
It's
it's gonna
actually
be okay.
it's got to be a real hazard for Reddit as millions of people stop using the platform and realize they don't actually need it and maybe it's not actually good for them. Uh but yeah, so you know, I think there's a ton of easy conversation that's made in the realm of games and also other things like what you're just saying with cameras where we put ourselves in the position of saying what I am is a consumer and this product is designed to please me and I'm going to interact with it with that kind of idea and constantly criticizing, constantly wanting more, constantly hoping for a more stimulating opportunity to consume and being a critic, like being a game critic, being a game reviewer. Sometimes I think about that and I'm just like, it's a little gross, or it can get to be a little gross. And I think to myself sometimes, criticize thyself. And I don't know, like I feel like I've been exposed to so many examples of people who are being used by video games, which are these earnest creations by hardworking, talented people who just want to make something cool and are using their best understanding to do it. I don't really think most of the things that people trip over and lose their lives on are made with sinister intent. I don't really buy that idea personally. But um, it's interesting how easily we all reach out to criticize the other the person who's making the thing wrong, the person who's saying the thing wrong, doing the thing wrong, but how reluctant we are to turn that lens on ourselves. And when we do turn the lens on ourselves, how the volume of outward criticism goes way down. It's like, oh, hang on a second. I don't got it. I don't got it. And maybe something you were saying earlier, there's room for kindness. There's good and evil within everyone. There's brilliance and stupidity within everyone. And I've got my bad moments too. Maybe we can try to forgive someone else's bad moments.
Yeah, I want to say a couple of things actually.
Okay.
It's now I still get frustrated whenever I see someone, some of the people that I work with, and like when I take pictures, like
Yeah.
just if I'm working a job and there are people there working with me, and it's like your pictures aren't good. Like
Theirs aren't?
I, they're not. Yeah, it's just like,
Okay.
but I don't say that out loud. I don't just say like your pictures suck.
Yeah.
Like figure it out.
Yep.
That's not helpful to anyone. That's helpful to nobody.
Yep. It makes
What
you
I
feel
think,
better about where you are. That's
yes,
a function of
when
that.
you should say, "Oh, damn, I was there. I'm not. Maybe they won't be there if I help them." Or you don't even have to take that approach. You could just
Yeah.
say like, "Hey, why did you do this that way?" And like just ask it like it's a genuine question, and really it should be. Like
Yeah.
but if you just express genuine interest in why someone did that,
Mhm.
like they'll tell you. And you can say, "Have you thought about trying it this way?" They may like just
And
say
maybe
like,
they never
"Yeah."
have. Maybe no one's
Maybe
ever
they
said that to
haven't.
them before.
Yeah. Like they might explain their thought process, and like maybe like the weirdest thing is there's someone that like I work with every now and like consistently like it's just kind of like you're someone that just doesn't need to be doing this. Like is genuinely how I feel about them. Like you should do something else.
Yeah.
But they enjoy it. There's
Okay.
value in them enjoying something. It's just kind of
Yep.
like probably isn't for you.
Hmm.
I was struggling with something completely unrelated to like I was trying to rebuild one of my backup scripts because I built a new NAS and was setting stuff up, and I was really just frustrated with having to like basically format a drive and copy everything back onto it just so I could like change the drive name.
That's annoying.
And I was just like, this is gonna take days, and it's pointless. And it's just because like I want the name in the script to be this way because it describes what I'm doing better. And they just said the letter's the same. Can't you just change the name? And I said no. And I was like, fuck. Are you kidding me? I'm not changing the path. I'm just changing the name. Yeah, I could do that. And I was just like, that was like 60 hours of copying files that person that like makes me question why they're doing what they're doing just saved me.
Yeah.
And like that, and like just because I was willing to listen to what they had to say, and it surprised me. Like if I
Mhm.
just
Mhm.
told them to shut up and leave, or like don't bother me, I'm busy, like
Mhm.
I just wasted a bunch of time.
Yeah.
um so y- yeah, I also wanted to say I knew that was the point that I wanted to get to and what I wanted to communicate. Don't really remember how we got there necessarily, but it's just kind of like what, like being a jerk.
Yeah.
That wouldn't have gotten me anything. Also,
Yeah.
I just want to say, like, specifically with Guild Wars 2 and Reddit and video games
Mm.
and like Brazil, since
Yeah.
hi, uh, it's I've gotten to know a couple of people from ArenaNet. Interestingly enough, they were interested in me as a person
Mm.
when I started to kind of like readjust my direction in life a couple of years ago.
Yep.
people who work on the story team and have heard me say, I think the story's bad and it sucks and it's irredeemable. And I don't know that they're listening right now. Maybe they are, maybe they're not. Maybe other people are, and just, I don't know. Sorry, but like, I still don't like the Guild Wars 2 story. It's not for me.
Yeah.
Doesn't press the buttons, doesn't doesn't do it. But
Mm.
you're doing what you need to do and you're taking the direction that you're taking for reasons.
Yeah.
It seems to be effective. Maybe there's stuff going on behind the scenes that I don't realize. And
Mm.
I don't know. It's just, I appreciate that you're doing it and that other people enjoy it. I think that's cool.
Yes. It's for someone.
And
It doesn't have to be for me.
right. And so like I'm big enough of a person to express that now and convey
Mhm.
that. Be like, not for me, but cool. Like you're doing something anyways. I
Good
could be
for
doing
you.
something too.
I don't
Yeah.
care about good for you. Yeah. Totally. Totally. It
Yeah. So
takes
it's
a
just like,
degree of maturity to feel and express that.
yeah,
Yeah.
you. I could still be an ass. Like you could be an ass. Everybody could be an ass. But like, where does it get us?
Yeah. Yeah. That's the question. I'm just thinking about what you shared about ArenaNet folks reaching out to you, being wanting to get to know you. That's pretty cool. I've had positive experiences with all the ArenaNet people who I've had the pleasure of meeting. I went to their anniversary party last year
Oh, okay.
because I live close by, and I got a chance to rub elbows with a bunch of people that we all know, have heard of. You know, McLean, the composer, uh, uh, Bobby Stein. The thing people don't know about Bobby Stein, I think people don't know about him, is that he is everywhere. You put if you go to a party, you will see him in every single corner of it, talking to every single person. He's and everyone loves him, and he just has such a presence in social gatherings that I don't know. Like if you see him on camera, or I don't know if that comes across as much, but it's just like wow. You see
He's a
why
good
people
guy.
love working with him.
Yeah, I think he's a. All evidence I've ever seen points to him being a pretty cool guy, a
Yeah,
pretty good guy.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I don't like
And
Timey, but
and
he's
I
a good
think
guy.
I think he would say it's okay if you don't like Timey. It's
Yeah,
really
yeah.
okay. It's even okay if you don't like my video game. But we're both humans. Let's be cool, man. You've come you've come so far from when I angrily unsubscribed from Mighty Teapot's Patreon
I
because you were such
know.
an asshole.
I love that.
I love talking to you, Preston, because like so much of what you're describing mirrors same stuff I've struggled with, dealt with. Obviously, not the same stories exactly, not the same circumstances specifically, but burying my head for years and years in video games. Like I think my relationship with people has been different, so I don't think I've ever been too assholish. Maybe I'm wrong. Um, but like I have like a you know, Brazil is sort of like your alter ego from the past, right? I sort of have an alter ego from the past too, of when I was a big gamer. It was, and it's my Darth Greg alter ego because that's literally the handle that I used for years and years when I was gaming online, up until like 5 years ago or whatever. And my when I'm streaming, sometimes people will tease me that they see Darth Greg coming out when I get a little tilted or whatever. Um, You know, I think one of the questions I'm always asking myself is like, what do I really need from video games anymore? I think I've kind of figured out that for me, a lot of it is like social substitution. Like I was in denial about being an extrovert for a long time. I didn't know it. I didn't realize it. And I was using video games to actually find a way to connect with people, to be with people, like I crave being. Um, Now that I've figured that out and I've gotten healthy enough to be out in the world and doing stuff, and I'm getting scratching some of those itches without having to use video games, I'm like, what am I do I really need to play a video game tonight? Like, do I really want to do that? What's my relationship with it? And there are days where I feel like the wind could blow a certain direction and I'd be done with video games forever and it wouldn't be a dramatic thing, right? So you haven't played one for 6 months, you said.
Yeah, it's probably been around that time. It's been a while, yeah.
Obviously, that frees up a lot of your time to do stuff that's important to you. That's clear. What would there ever be a situation where you'd want to play another video game, or do you think like you're just done?
No, like I could see myself like I don't know that I would necessarily play anything new, but like if I wind up in a relationship with someone or like want to spend time with a friend and like play multiplayer or something
Sure,
and like it would just be cool to do that for a while, like yeah, it's like
as a way to spend time
yeah.
together. Yeah,
I think you really almost have to have that mentality because when example like me, when I just wasn't ever going to eat carbs again
mm.
and I ate
Potatoes turn
fucking
you off forever.
an M&M at a Christmas party, my company Christmas party. This was years ago. Like I was fucking like rock star, like hot, like I looked good, weighed like 190 pounds, was working
Yes,
out like my chest and pecs would I
let's go.
fucking like in like I'm there with like our CEO and we're just like talking, just like bullshitting and stuff. He's like, just have an M&M, Preston. Like, what's it gonna do? And I was like, no, I don't eat that anymore. And he's just like, you can't go your whole life without ever just having an M&M. I was like, yeah, I can. And he was like, just do it. And so I ate an M&M, and I was just like, all the like, it was just like,
And the demons went whoosh.
and they're like, oh yeah, you were never gonna do this again, huh? You were done with us. And I think it was a green one, which maybe that's what got Tucker Carlson in so much trouble. Like he just couldn't let go of the green. And funny joke. Anyways, uh, but I saw the opportunity. Anyways, so and then it was like, yeah, that was good. I want a beer. Like it just went from like it was like
Mhm.
if I'm gonna have a carb, I may as well have a beer too. And then
Yeah,
it's just like fuck, dude, I want a rum and coke. I want four more. And all of the like addictive alcohol gene. Like I didn't really drink at that. Like
yeah.
I rarely ever drink, but
Hmm.
whenever I do, it's like I'll just drink everything that's
It's to
there, and I'll
excess.
stop when it runs out.
Yeah,
And so
yeah. What's in front of you is what gets
yeah,
consumed. Yeah,
yes, yeah. I'm literally like an elder dragon, like for the
yeah.
good of those two people.
Just
You
give me
just
all the
can't.
magic.
Yeah.
That sweet
And
sugary
so
magic.
anyways, like the next day, I'm just like in shit hell hangover world, and I'm like, oh my god, I did it! I ruined the streak. I feel so miserable. I want to go get
Might
some
as well double
rice, and
down.
so we'll just have another day. And then that turned into like eating Little Caesars $5 pizzas for every meal. Anyways, now it's like when I talk about video games, it's like I could never play a video game again, and I think it would be fine,
Hmm.
but I'm not gonna be so stupid as to say like I'll never play another video game because if I take that approach and then make the mistake and do the thing, it's like what's from stopping me from just derailing again?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
you just I could be wrong. Like other people may just be able to take the I'll never do this again approach. I don't think I can.
yeah,
But I think that's okay because it's like if you fuck up and do something dumb, then like just don't do it. Just
yeah.
acknowledge it and
No,
just move on and just yeah.
I think you're 100%, dude. I think the way we're looking at it now is really really smart. I'm thinking about the problem of video game addiction a little bit um, more externally than usually, because usually it's about my own addiction and my own struggles with it. But because I'm connected with someone who works in education, and they're talking to me about how there are a lot of kids that just are having trouble in school, and video games are a problem. You know, and what can we do? What can we do? And so much of the messaging to help kids is about quitting video games. It's about stopping the thing that is that is evident when there is a problem. Let's say it that way. And that's exactly what my parents did with me when I was in high school. They're like, you failed a class, you're playing lots of video games, you're grounded from video games. And and I don't know, that might have been the worst thing they could have done. Maybe the worst. I don't know. Because it created a fucked up relationship with me in games. And um even if I would go periods of time like you described where I wasn't gaming, I would have one taste and I'd be back. Because I didn't really grow in my understanding of what those things were to me. I just took distance from them. And distance is a good tool to use to get over something like that, I think. Like just not playing video games for a week to understand, okay, here's what I actually feel like I want now that I haven't played video games for a week. I can stop doing daily quests. Fuck that. But I actually miss doing this, whatever the specific thing is. What's that say about me? Oh, okay, I've learned something now. I know what I need to get out of it. But I guess this is this is not yet clear in my head, but I'm sure that in a world where opportunities to submerge ourselves in entertainment and shitty food and whatever other consumer products are being pushed on us that make products out of us, that the way to operate successfully in that world is not to take all that stuff and keep it out of view permanently, but to actually just figure out what our relationship with it is, what we need, so that when we do bump into these things, we can navigate it and we're not always either in an abyss or in the heights. Um, I feel like this has gotten really vague. So let me try to make it specific. Okay.
Sure.
I'll use food. Um, so I am a person who will eat whatever in front of me. I just pretty much always do. And what that means is that I can't prepare my own food because I can't set my own portions correctly. I'm not good at knowing how much I need to eat. I'm not a good cook in any way in the first place. So I have arranged so that I have pre-portioned food for my meals, all of them, and the only ones that I actually prepare myself. I do chicken salads for lunch usually. Actually, that's what I was scarfing down before we started talking. I prepare on the weekends ahead of time, so I don't make it when I'm hungry. And I also keep a bunch of stuff outside the house. Like one of my favorite, like sort of junk food treats is Reese's cups because they're amazing. They're amazing,
Yeah.
especially the big cups with the extra peanut butter. Ooh. But anyway, um, if they're in the house, I will eat them, and that's mostly true even today. But there are some things that over time, as I've been taking distance from them and figured things out, and I've been able to like have them be in front of me and just be like, no. French fries is a good example for me
Yep.
because um, I go pretty much at least once or twice a week. I find myself going for a hamburger somewhere. Hamburgers actually work really well for me. Like my body deals really well with them, um, and I feel good when I have one. But when I add in French fries, I feel like shit every time, and it's always bad for me. Um, so I've gotten really good at staring down a basket of fries and being like, nah. Um, I guess I'm not really sure how to tell people I got there, but uh, I'm just sort of awkwardly relating to what you said about the M&Ms. If you saw an M&M today, would you be okay?
Yeah, I mean, I would think about what to do with it, but I don't know. I'd probably be fine. I'd probably just
If
like,
you
what
if
would it do for me? Like, is it? It's
yeah,
just yeah,
if you met someone who had a trigger like that, let's not M&Ms, let's say it's sugary soda, okay? And that's their thing that they can't control themselves around. How would we suggest that this person gets to where you are with M&Ms, gets to where I am with French fries, where they can be in the presence of the trigger, but still be in charge of their own behavior? How do we do that? Because I think that's the world we live in, man.
yeah. They're just everywhere.
Yeah.
The, with video game, it's with video games. Like they're designed to make you want more of them.
Yeah.
It's it's abuse.
Okay.
When you figure that out, you're like, ooh, I don't think I want that to happen to me. Okay, it doesn't. Like, yeah, when you think about it that way, like, why would you do it?
Yeah.
Like, it sucked to get beat up. Like, why would you walk up to the bully and say, hit me? Like,
Mm.
I didn't get enough of it yesterday. Can you please do it again?
Hmm.
It's the same, and like, really, it's the same thing. It really just is. Like, if you're addicted to games or to anything, you're throwing yourself just into the meat grinder and just saying like just fuck me up, just do it. Why? And when you can detach from that and you can ask yourself like why am I here, it just it you just realize that it's pointless. If I want to play a video game to like have a connection and have fun with somebody for a little bit, like I'm not opposed to that. But when you're playing a video game and it was really fun and you're going to play the video game with the next person again tomorrow,
Hmm.
and then like damn, that gym store outfit looks really cool though, it's only 800 gems, and suddenly it's a month later and you're like fuck, I did it, didn't I? It's okay that it happened, but you had the thought, and that's the good part. Like, don't get so caught up on like losing the battle
Mm.
that when you have the thought, you say, "Well, I lost one battle. I may as well just lose all of them too."
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, enjoy, like, just enjoy little things. Like, enjoy life. Like, there's a
Hmm.
lot of shit. Like, it's okay for things to be fun, and it's okay for like I had a Coke Zero at lunch today. I haven't had a soda in like 2 weeks probably.
Hmm.
I just said I'd like to have one. I'd like to just taste the fizz and have some caffeine. And I really
Sounds
don't
nice.
drink caffeine anymore.
Hmm.
Yeah, and so, but like I don't think fuck. Well, I drank one. I may as well, like, I want to stay up and edit tonight. I may as well just go get a Mountain Dew and an
Go get
energy
a
drink.
case.
Just
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Just try, and it is really hard to like in the moment catch yourself. It's like you got to really think and feel and be aware of what you're doing
Yeah.
and like break out of your just unconscious like
Yeah.
just doing shit
Yeah.
and
Your
say,
mouse
where am I,
chasing the
what am
cheese.
I?
You got to break out
Yeah,
of that whatever that is.
what am I doing? Just don't do that. Stop. Come on, let's,
Yeah.
you know what to do. Just yeah, you just got to be able to get to that point, and it takes work, it takes time.
Yeah.
um
How do people get there? Like people who aren't you and me. How do people do it though?
how do
It
people
how do people develop that? I'm actually trying to understand this because like you, I want to help people and I see a problem. How
I
does
can I can share some tactics and like strategies that like I've used and other people that I know have used that have found helpful. Um, Genuinely having awareness in the moment, if you start with little things, if you just step outside and you just think about what's happening, it's
Yeah.
so easy to just walk out the front door and it's just like you just look around. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
But if you think about, ooh, I'm not wearing shoes and the grass feels this way on my feet and I can feel the wind blowing across me and this is what, but it's only on this part. When you make, when you learn to do that with little things and you learn to just kind of like pull back from the back of your own eyes and you're like, I'm looking at this, I'm doing this.
Yeah.
And you can do it in little trivial stupid moments that just are genuinely are irrelevant.
Yeah.
It gets easier to do it in the big things. And in I don't know, maybe you go drink the magic tea and that takes you there. Maybe you just work on it maybe like life is fine
Yeah.
and like overall everything's always been pretty good, but you think it could be better and you just want to get a little better. I
Develop.
don't know, just
Yeah.
yeah, just
Just
every day, just like
practice self-awareness, it sounds like.
yeah, yeah. Self-awareness is that just helps a lot.
Yeah.
With some people, I think, man, this is gonna sound weird too because I didn't have I had terrible experience with religion and religious people,
Mm.
um, and a lot of people have. And now I think about it and I'm like, not everyone is in like as introspective as me, and there's utility in just having a list of things you should and shouldn't do. My dad is a very literal and direct person. I am
Mhm.
not. When my dad taught me to drive a manual transmission when I was a kid, and like I stalled the truck every 2 feet and just couldn't figure it out. It didn't make any sense, and I was having a meltdown and crying, and it sucked and it was awful. He's just like, you just put the clutch and do it, and you put the gas and you just go. But you just go, just do it, just figure it out. That wasn't helpful to me. And like I still like literally I can drive a manual transmission just fine. I don't have a problem with it. If I'm driving one and I think about my dad yelling at me when I was a kid, I will stall the car or I'll do weird
Oh.
shit that you shouldn't do. Like I'll just like put the clutch in like while I'm in like sixth gear, like cruising down the highway. It's just like a reflex. And I'll catch myself now though. That's the difference. I'm like,
Huh.
what?
I just had a strong
Why did
reaction
I
to
do
that
that?
thought.
Yeah.
What's
And
going on
I
there?
started doing other things too. Like whenever I work out or like when I get in the shower, like depending on like the water temperature of the shower, if it's really like hot or really
Mhm.
cold, if
Mhm.
it's cold, I want to like clasp my hands together and just like kind of tighten up. And I'll think about that. I'll think, ooh, Preston, you're feeling cold right now. You just did that thing with your hands.
Mhm.
Relax them down at your side. It's going to be cold anyways. Just do it. Or whenever I'm out walking and I have some weird autistic thought and like relive this stupid scenario where someone made me feel uncomfortable and I just started humming to make it go away, and I'll like grab like the edge of my shirt down here and like rub the cloth, or like I'll just like mentally start humming in my head. I'm like, oh, I'm doing the thing because I was uncomfortable.
Mm.
And I catch those like I catch them now. Feelings and things like that are just going to happen. They're
Mhm.
automatic. Like you can't not feel things. You
Mhm.
can't not react to things. But you can catch them as they come in, and you can change what happens when they go out.
You can decide.
Yeah, you can decide what to do with it. Maybe not right now.
Mhm.
Maybe it just takes a while to do that. With me learning a manual, it turns out that like the clutch just always spins, and what you're pressing with the clutch pedal is the pressure plate, and that presses in, it lifts off from the friction material on the clutch, and it spins. I just had to think about like fucking Rubik's cube.
Mhm.
Like
Mhm.
this is something that
You had to
I
visualize
wanted
it.
to stop. I wanted to stop scrolling and doing shit on my phone on Instagram all day and just wasting
Mm.
time. So I said, if I'm gonna just fidget with something, I'm gonna learn to do a Rubik's cube. And best case, it's something that impresses people and they talk to me and ask me about it. Worst case is I just get really good at doing Rubik's cubes.
And it's
And
better
what's
than doom scrolling.
yeah, seriously, like
Yeah.
little things like that. Like
Yeah.
you just do little stuff,
Yeah.
and
And
like
and they add up. They add up.
they do seriously. Like after a week of just doing little things, just realizing like your body or you have a reflex when something uncomfortable happens,
Mm-hmm.
and then after a month and after a year, all of a sudden it's going to be like, fuck, I'm a different person.
Mm-hmm.
And with weight loss, like, you will probably really appreciate this. I think you'll actually love this.
Okay.
I watched an interview with Mike Tyson a long time ago where he's talking about like how like Don King took all his money and like all this shit happened and he lost like $40 million. And
Oof.
the interviewer's like, Mike, dude, $40 million, that's a lot of money. And Mike goes, dude, that's nothing. It's like, that's not a lot of money. And to me, it's like, I used to weigh 415 pounds.
Uh-huh.
And when I tell somebody, like in the past, like 6 months, I've lost 60 pounds,
Mm-hmm.
they're just like, dude, that's a lot of weight. Like 60. I'm like, no, it's not. It's the same thing. It's like $40 million wasn't a lot of money
Yeah.
to Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
Losing 60 pounds isn't, that's just like nothing to me. It's just like, I
Yeah.
have 60 pounds to lose. But you'll be a different person. Like if you lose like 2 pounds a week for a while,
2 pounds a
suddenly
week
like
is a
you're not,
good clip.
yeah,
And it's
yeah.
not easy to
Like
keep up that clip.
you gotta work. You gotta work.
Yeah.
But like all of a sudden, like before you realize, you're gonna be a different person.
Yeah.
Or the time's gonna pass anyways. Like here's the thing about time. In a year from now, it's gonna be a year from now. Are you gonna be a better person or a worse person when it happens?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's gonna happen. You
Mm-hmm.
don't have a choice. You can't stop it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Worst
Yeah.
case is you're not here a year from now. You may not be.
Which
So you have
case,
even less time
yeah,
to do
get
cool
on with it.
stuff and to make a difference. Yeah. I don't know. I don't
Yeah,
know
man.
when it's gonna be my time, but I want to do cool shit.
Yeah. That thing about the weight loss. I tell people how much weight I've lost, and they don't even like. It's clear that they can't even visualize what that means.
Yes. Yes.
I tell people I've lost 250 pounds. They're like, "What?" People who didn't know me then, they can't even imagine what I looked like. It's just crazy. I'm getting close to being half of the weight that I was at my highest. Getting close. And yeah, it's crazy. The extreme places we go that change our frame of reference. I was gonna say something else too. I can't remember what it was. Oh, yeah. I had a moment like kind of like where do I want to be a year from now? You mentioned that. I had a moment sort of like that. So I've been doing this thing this year that's been new where I've been singing again. I grew up a choir boy. Music was a
Yes.
huge part of my growing up. And about a little more than a decade ago, I went through a period of my life where things were getting rapidly better for me. I had lost a bunch of weight. I was getting out there, and I started to sing again. And I found the world of barbershop a cappella singing. And I did that for about a year and a half until I moved overseas and my life changed a bunch. And then stuff happened, blah blah blah. But now I'm coming back to music now that I can be on my feet for hours, which you have to be if you want to be a singer, really. Um, and I had the chance to go to a really cool event last weekend. It's called Harmony College. It's like basically a regional thing where a bunch of the people in the world of barbershop all come together. They sing songs together. They teach each other how to sing better, and they all get up and sing and perform on stage for each other. It's really fun. And so there's a recording now of me singing with my chorus there and a bunch of pictures of me. And people, a bunch of people saw me, okay? And now I'm like, I wanna be 100 pounds lighter when I go to next year's event. That's what I wanna do. And then people will understand how hard I've been working. Then they'll get it. And I'm excited now to project myself through this year, be like, yes, yes. I'm turning 40 in September. I don't know if you knew that. And I think I might have mentioned it earlier. But anyway, it's kind of a crazy ass number. And there's a part of me that would really like to enter my 40s like under 300 pounds. Like, I would really like to not spend a single minute of my 40s above that number. I don't think I'm going to hit it though. I'm not sure if it's really possible for me to do it. I have to lose like 4 or 5 pounds a week between now and September, which is not very realistic. Maybe impossible without losing a limb. But you know, I've become so able to catch myself, like you described, and redirect my behavior towards something that I care about to practice the self awareness. And I don't know how it is for you, but I feel like for me, a lot of that ability to catch myself and act differently, I noticed starting to change when my testosterone levels went up.
I've been able to do that for a long time.
Okay.
Like genuinely, like I actually specifically remember the first time I ever did it. Um, I was a kid. I was in fifth grade,
Yeah.
and there was a Lego series out that were like these little Martian things. I think it was called like Life on Mars or something. And I had this like mech suit, and there was a little alien, and I was in the living room on our like chair, like our footstool for the chair, and I was laying on it, like bent over the front of it, building the set on the floor, thinking
Mhm.
about it. And I
Mhm.
picked the little Martian guy up and put him in the suit, and it was like I kicked out of my body back into third person, and I was like, "Whoa, I'm just a guy in a suit too." And then like I had this sense of like my fingers and hands, and I was like, I don't like this. This is weird. Why am I? And like I just knew consciously at that time. I was like, I'm never gonna be the same again. Like I'm
Huh.
aware that I'm a person, and things are just gonna be different now. Like it was a weird thought and
Yeah.
situation to be in.
Like a threshold shift in your
Yeah,
self-awareness. Yeah.
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 It was just like it was just I don't know. I was just was like that from that point on. I
That's
guess.
interesting. That's
Um,
interesting. Wonder if there were some
it
events leading up to
definitely
that that brought you there.
probably,
Yeah.
but that was like the lights just came on. But
So yeah.
with the like hormone like restoration and like getting that fixed, it's like, oh, I remember how to do this. Yeah, I'll just do it again. Like I know how to do it. Like my energy, like the way my body function changed was just like, yeah, just
Just do it.
no problem, just do it. Yeah,
Yeah.
and so
I've become the kind of person too, much more. Oh, just do it. Just do it. Like
yeah,
my wife points it out. Sometimes I'm a little like chill out, Greg. Sometimes it's like you don't have to get this done right now, right? Oh, yeah, I want to get it done. Um, the thing that my wife said about me when I asked her about the changes after getting my testosterone levels fixed, I was like, am I the same person? Like, I was didn't really have an answer to that question. I was curious about it. She said, "You are more like the person you already were than you've ever been. Like, you are more of yourself. You're you, but more so." And that was like, all right. Like, I'm okay. I'm not I'm not taking a personality change drug. I'm not becoming a different person. I'm not turning into an asshole. Because when things change fast, it's like, what the fuck? Like, am I me anymore? What the fuck was I do I miss that? And the reason I asked you about like the inclination to act is like I know like before I would I would know something. I would have the self-awareness in previously, but I would not have the moment of like do it different or actually do this. Like that ability to sort of delay my the way I respond to a feeling or a sensation is something that I used to always really struggle with. And if I did manage to change my relationship with something, it took a long time. And it had to be something I practiced for months and years. Um, Whereas now I can, I it's more easier for me to just like decide, and that's just the way it is. And it's clear to me going forward why I made that choice and what to do about it.
Yeah.
And I feel
Yeah.
like a different person in that way. Interesting.
Yeah, it's that's a good way to think about it. It's just the kind of like do it, just do it. Yeah. Yeah. It's different. I mean, I'm a very, I guess it's a flaw. You could probably describe it that way.
Hmm.
And it comes from an interesting place because I'm very laid, believe it or not, I'm a very laid back person and kind of always have been. It's just
Hmm.
if you only know me from watching Guild Wars 2 YouTube videos 10 years ago, you probably would just thought that I was just a dick all the
A
time.
raging
And
asshole.
yeah, for real. Um, you know what? Bookmark that real fast. Okay.
Okay.
I'm going to do something again because we've moved on. I deleted my YouTube channel because I didn't want those videos to exist. Like I did years ago, I deleted the
Oh.
Brazil YouTube channel. I have some Guild Wars 2 videos up on like some channel now that
Yeah.
I was doing chasing a raw speed run times with some buddies before I quit. That's a whole other thing. But if you only know me as Preston, the guy on the Deeg podcast, you want to get an idea of what I used to be like. Strife025 or Strife's Gaming on YouTube. He was a guy I used to play with in D&T a long time ago. And before he quit the game and went to work for Blizzard, I gave him some build guides to upload. Uh, the Mesmer build guide is horrible to watch. Like it's just painful. I every now and then it's a good reality check to go back to, just to be like, fuck that. I'm never gonna do that again. So it's out there if you want to find it, if you're
Okay.
so inclined to do so. Um,
Strife zero. Would you say it was the number?
Strife025, yeah, I
Okay.
think. Or you could just search like Strife Ara, Strife Mesmer build. You'll
Yeah.
find it. It's one of the more recent video. He hasn't uploaded anything in years, but yeah,
Yeah, I see it. I see it.
um, yeah, it's different me. But yeah, so anyways, being laid back, like I'm laid back in, I am a photographer, but my background isn't exclusively in photography. I have a really like interesting and varied background from like IT to graphic design and stuff, and that gives me a pretty interesting overlap in skills to do cool things that
Hmm.
not I mean that other people that I like work with and do stuff with can't do necessarily.
Hmm.
So a, a couple people that I work with, they're really obsessive about lighting and like lighting portraits in a particular way, and then like barely editing the picture at all or just like dumping a preset on it, and then that's it is what it is. Me, I just want to get the lighting like as specific as it needs to be in that moment for how I like it. And like I'll just take a balanced and neutral file into the computer and just do what I want with it.
Mm.
And I also recognize that from the moment I took the picture to the moment that I'm done with it, I may have something different in mind and may think, oh shit, I want to do that. So I just try to
Mm,
get something neutral that I can work with. And like I'm really efficient and quick at editing, and I can do anything that I want to basically. And if I don't know how to do something, I can figure it out. Like I've
right.
just gotten kind
Right.
of to that point.
Yep.
Um, and I kind of forgot where we were going and how we got here a little bit,
We just
but
talked
it's
about
my
being a little chagrined at evidence of your past self.
yeah. That's what it is. And so
Okay.
now it's just like I don't. I'm kind of a little too passive sometimes with stuff like that because it's like I could just fix it. Like
Mm.
the fix it and post that a lot of
Mm-hmm.
like filmmakers and stuff. It's like, but like I know how to and I can.
Mm-hmm.
But really, like there's some. Oh my god, dude! Follow me on Instagram and everywhere. I have some really fun pictures that I'm gonna dump on the 4th of July. I'm gonna try. I broke the Corvette subreddit the other day with a friend of
Really?
mine. Yeah, it was really amusing.
Congrats.
Um, yeah, she and I are like we like to work together and take pictures together and do
Uh
fun
huh.
stuff.
Uh huh.
And we took some pictures with my Corvette out at the lake. And they're not anywhere for anybody to see yet. On the 4th of July, they will be.
Okay.
And I anticipate they'll be exciting for people. But a couple of them, I was just like, fuck. Like, I really should have just moved this light a little bit. Or
Mm.
like, yeah, like I really should have just done this. But
Mm-hmm.
I can still fix it. I just need to not. I just, it's not the end of the world. It's fine. Sometimes I'm just too laid back. Sometimes I'm too passive. Like if
I see.
I'm in a situation where I really want to do something
Mm-hmm.
and I have a goal and something is blocking me from that, I tend to not like push too hard for it.
Okay.
I'm just kind of like, maybe it's not meant to happen. Maybe I just need to like reevaluate, settle down, try
Yeah.
again,
Okay.
rather than being like, get out of my way. I'm going to do this.
Sure. Sure.
And that's a little bit of a flaw, I think, sometimes. Sometimes
Hmm.
I really should just be like, no, push harder
There's
or
an
just do
opportunity
it,
where
just
you
change
could
it.
intervene on your behalf more assertively. Yeah.
Yeah. It's assertiveness and is really a delicate dance. Like you have to, it's easy to go too far in either direction, like pushing
Yeah.
too hard or not pushing hard enough. And so it's just, I'll probably always struggle with that
Sure.
because I can be like really explosive because like it's, again, family, really explosive, just a lot of jerks. That's what I
Mm-hmm.
grew up with and what I know is really easy for me to do. But I also have a tendency to just like be really passive a lot of the time. And
Hmm.
so I don't know.
Hmm.
Just is what it is.
Mm-hmm. Assertiveness is one of those personality qualities that, I described to you that personality test that I took like before and after
Yeah.
testosterone. That's one of those personality dimensions that for me really flipped. Here, let me see
I'm
if I can pull it up right now.
probably less assertive now.
Interesting.
I'm more like peaceful and open to not having all of the answers and not
Uh-huh.
being the one in control. Whereas like that's probably more the like the experience I had
Uh-huh.
versus the testosterone does have a tendency to make you just want to like to just be a masculine dude. Like it
Just
just kind of
go.
does that.
Just
Yeah.
go.
And I think the other thing is really just like just it's okay. It's
Yeah.
all right.
I went from, according to this personality test, which you're not supposed to take twice, so maybe I gummed up the results, but whatever.
They're
Um,
also just fake and you can just make them do what they you want them to.
I
But
think every
I
personality test, especially the good ones, they're a little true, a little applies
yes.
to everyone, and a little fake. And
Yeah,
what you
yeah.
get from it is kind of like what you project onto. But I find them interesting and occasionally useful. And
Yeah, I
they're a
100%
language we're
agree.
talking about this stuff. But like according to this, I went from the 26th percentile in assertiveness to the 94th percentile in assertiveness. And I feel like it's true. Like I'm really likely to assert my interests in every situation that I'm in. Really likely. Here's a funny one while I got this up. This is probably the
Okay.
funniest change. Let me find it. Politeness. Uh, Politeness is a measure of a person's obedience, deference to authority, and sensitivity to social norms. People who score higher are deferential, respectful of norms, and conflict averse. People who score lower are less deferential, less respectful of norms, and more comfortable challenging other people. People who are high in compassion and avoid conflict for fear of making others feel negative emotion, while people who are high in politeness avoid conflict for fear of making themselves feel negative emotion. Interesting. So, when I took this test in 2021, I scored 76th percentile on politeness. Fairly polite person. Um, Tends to be deferential to authority, tends to be not provoke people because I don't want the negative emotion that comes back from provoking someone in a way. I took this again after the testosterone. I went to the 0th percentile on politeness. uh, you are highly unlikely to be obedient or deferential to authority. You may be respectful, but only to those who earn it. You're willing to push back when challenged. You're far more comfortable than average with confrontation and may even enjoy it. What do you think? Am I that impolite? What's your read on it?
I don't think so. Well, okay. You might be. I just haven't seen you express it enough for me to
Hmm.
think he's a jerk. Whereas, like, sorry, but like, if I interact with you, my head's just gonna do autistic stuff. Like, I'm gonna like if you ask, I'll just be honest.
That's okay.
If you ask me for criticism and feedback on a picture, the first 25 thoughts that I have are gonna be this sucks and here's why.
Yep.
I'm
Let
just
me have
not
it.
gonna tell you that. And I recognize that like my brain just works that way and does that.
Yeah.
Other people's do too. And what matters is my presentation and my, you know, connection to the person in the moment. It's like it's
Hmm.
not helpful to say, whereas like beforehand it's just like before I guess I learned this about myself, it's kind of just like, well, it sucks. Like if they asked me what I thought about it, it sucks. Like that just sucks.
Yeah.
But that doesn't do any good for anyone.
Yes. That's not
And
useful.
so like you may have become more of a dick. I just don't see you acting that way.
Hmm.
So, and I don't know, maybe you are impolite, but you have a very warm presentation
Hmm.
and you're very easy to talk to.
Thank you.
You're easy to get along with.
Oh,
And I don't really think that you're impolite, even though you may be, and I just don't see it. Maybe that's what's. But at
always a
that point, like,
possibility.
who cares? Like, does it matter?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I
I
don't
think
know.
the thing that tends to save me, and if this is the last time I'm going to mention this personality test, I'm so sorry, is my openness, which is that I'm very,
Yes.
and my enthusiasm. I'm very, very open to new ideas and ways of thinking, and I'm really enthusiastic about hearing what people have to say. So I think that kind of balances me out. And even though, like, I think I'm right basically all the time, uh, I want to make sure I understand what people have to bring anyway, despite the fact that I think I'm right. I don't know. Strange.
I mean, dude, being right makes you feel good, but being wrong is really good for you.
Oh yeah, that's what you need.
Yeah, you
That's what
gotta.
you
It's
need.
like, dude, if you want to work out and get big muscles, you need sleep and protein. And being wrong is like the protein for your spirit. Like you just gotta do it.
So how do you get in
It's
situations where you're wrong? How do you do that?
so like and this leads to me being frustrated sometimes
Uh,
because like I there's someone that like I'm pretty close with that's a pretty accomplished photographer, and like I
Okay.
respect them. Um, he's very bullet point, quick explanation. Like you either get it or you. He's like my dad in a lot of
Mm,
ways. Like you
yeah.
either get it or you don't. Like keep up or get out.
Yeah.
And so like I'll approach him and ask him questions about things, and I'll get an answer that's not helpful to me.
Yeah.
And it's something that like I already know, and it's just like I think like, why did I ask? But
Mm,
it's like I went today I asked him a question that was very niche and specific, and I thought he may be able to provide insight. And
mhm,
as every other time I've ever asked him, he didn't. He just told me stuff that I already knew, but I knew that there was a chance that was going to happen.
mhm,
So when I went into the situation, I approached it knowing that it would frustrate me, and I'll have a tendency to kind of get where I need to go. And him being unhelpful will help me think about what's in my head as I'm expressing it and verbalizing it to
mhm.
him. So basically, when he's talking to me, I can just ignore him and just use him as someone to try to be careful about how I articulate what I want to do
To
to,
be clear
so
in
I
your
can just think
thoughts.
about it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he gets to feel cool because I asked him a question and made him feel important and made him feel like a valuable, and like to be clear, like he's smart, like he's a good guy, and like
Mhm,
he's
mhm.
helpful and he does good things, but it's just like he's not going, his head just doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
Like he can't like get into the nuances of stuff. He's just very like literal, direct, do it. Here are the rules and here's why it works.
Mhm.
It's like some people are just that way. I'm
Yeah.
not.
Yeah. Yeah.
That
Yeah.
doesn't mean he's not helpful.
That what you described, the value of how airing your thoughts, airing as in
Yeah.
air versus ground, air, AIR, airing your thoughts will cause you to have to order them and clarify them.
Yep.
I
I
that's one of the reasons I started doing the podcast in the first place. Because I had all these thoughts and ideas. I realized I had the talking skill. I'm like, let's see if my ideas suck. Let's put them out there.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's expressing things. I get really frustrated, and I used to be like I used to tutor, like math and like Adobe programs like Photoshop and stuff.
Okay.
And I always thought that I'm pleasant to talk to and like very like conversational.
Mm.
And I realize now it's like I'm I've lost a lot of my ability to like teach and communicate things because I haven't spent enough time doing it for a while.
Yeah.
And it's like someone will ask me a question about, like, someone asked me the other day, like, I want to take a portrait with a lake in the background,
Mhm.
and like, what do I do? And I'm
Mhm.
just like, it's like their universes colliding with answers that I could give about. And so I had to just stop and think, like, okay, I need to ask them what they're trying to accomplish and what they're trying to communicate.
Mhm.
Get more clarification, understand it.
Mhm.
And so after a little bit of back and forth, kind of figured it out. They were in a ballpark already and kind of had some ideas. They just didn't know how to go all the way, and I helped them.
Okay.
And so, anyways, it's I forget where we were going again. I just lose track
Things
of
all
shit.
start from a
But
conversation talking about being wrong, and then you
yeah, yeah,
and then,
yeah,
and then you
yeah,
mentioned about the usefulness of airing things out to your dad, even if his response isn't useful, because it helps you order your
yeah.
thoughts, and then you're
I,
onto this.
I like I wouldn't have been able to explain like the nuances of like circular polarizers and like how shutter speed affects wavelength, and like you're gonna ripples in water, and how you're gonna also need an ND filter if you want to do all this other stuff. Anyways, I wouldn't have understood that if I hadn't like just been experimenting and curious and taken pictures that were bad.
Hmm.
And
Right.
there's a good
If you hadn't
chance
done it
that
the
they're
wrong
not.
way,
Yeah, that
things to
they
avoid.
like. Yeah, like, and I may not have answered well enough for them to just go do what they wanted to do the first time.
Yeah.
They may have to try a couple times. Same
Yep.
thing with me. Like, there's this girl that I work really well with, and she likes modeling. I like taking her picture, and it's fun to just like set the internet on fire with her. It's a really good combo. We have good synergy.
Nice, dude.
And like the other day, I was so like hung up about high speed sync on my lights and not using any ND filter and wanting to try that for like outdoor portraits.
Uh
When things went wrong, I was just like,
huh.
and so I just reverted back into my like safe space, just like customer service skills, like you do this, do that. And like every picture I took, I looked at it on my camera and I was like, it's bad.
uh,
And she had fun. I had not the best time I could have because I'm having like a fucking, it's like
a bit
there's
of
a
a meltdown,
meteor
it sounds
crashing
like.
inside of my head. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I got home. The first thing I did, this was important. I loaded up all the pictures into Adobe Bridge. I didn't want to see them and look at them because I fucking knew they were bad.
Uh huh.
I made myself look at every single one.
Hmm.
And everyone I'm looking at, I'm like, this sucks. This sucks. This sucks. This
Wrong,
sucks.
wrong,
This
wrong,
sucks.
wrong.
Yes. And I said, okay, I'm going to walk away from the computer for a little bit and go work out. I'll look at them tomorrow morning.
Mm-hmm.
Come back tomorrow morning and I'm like, some of these are okay.
Uh,
I can get them to a point where they look good.
yeah.
She had a good time. The world's not actually ending.
Yeah. When you get distance from the shitty
Yes.
feeling, the
Yep.
products of the shitty feeling feel less and less bad, right? You know,
Yes. And
go ahead,
so,
okay.
do you mind if I go ahead real quick?
Not at all.
And so, like, that sucked. I don't ever want to do that again. But we've done pictures a couple more times. Had a really good time. Had an absolute blast the other day. And, like, I'm really happy with a lot of them. Are they all perfect? No.
Mm.
But instead of taking like 40 pictures and like four of them being good, which was like the first couple times we got together, we took several and I was pretty happy with all of them. But like literally 388 pictures the other day, plus like several minutes of like behind the scenes video and just like fun little video clips and stuff. We had a blast. They're not all
Oh,
perfect, but like they're like 90 that like are like pretty pretty all right.
nice, dude.
The next time it'll be better.
Yeah.
And so like you sometimes like you just fucking like it's just things are gonna go wrong.
Yeah.
And like I could have just put the camera down and never taken another picture again because I didn't like feeling like a failure.
Right.
But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah,
still
dude.
there. I'm gonna I it getting better at it and feeling like I'm worth something
Yeah.
and being able to do cool stuff and help people is so much more worth just like bombing and feeling like shit. Like it's the same like comedians
Yep.
and musicians. You're gonna fuck up on stage. People are gonna boo you. It's gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna happen no matter like if you I
You're
used
gonna
to work
feel like
fast
shit.
food
Yep.
like a lot of people. Someone's just gonna be mad and they're just gonna throw a cheeseburger at your head one day.
Rip.
And that's actually a situation where it's like I'm just gonna quit and do something else. That's not a bad
I,
response.
I don't need to stand for this treatment.
Yeah.
Just because I serve cheeseburgers doesn't mean I want them served to me.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Uh-huh.
it's just like, man, I just genuinely hope that like if someone's watching or listening and they're stuck, that like just give it some thought. Like, do you really want to just like be stuck and give up? It doesn't matter what it is.
Hmm.
Like, genuinely, like part of the Rubik's cube, it's like this is hard.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can do it, but I did it, and I can do it now.
Hmm.
So it was a good little
And it's
exercise
low
just to know I
stakes.
could do something.
It's low
Yes,
stakes, right?
yes, yes.
I like that too. Like simple substitutions that are low stakes.
Yeah.
Like I
If you
got back,
want to
I
like,
got back into reading science fiction again this year, which
yeah,
I got way out of for a long time. For the same reason you're doing Rubik's Cube, which is just to try to stop spending as much time looking at social media. Um, yeah, man. The example that you gave about the photos and hating the photos reminded me of a class that I took over the weekend at this Harmony College I've mentioned before, the barbershop group, and it was a class all about trying to um, use self recordings of yourself singing in order to improve as a singer. And almost the entire class, like the entire hour and a half class, almost all of it was just about talking through the reality that people, when they hear their voice for the first time that's been recorded, they recoil and go, "Oh my fucking God. I can't sound, that's not, who is that? Oh, I don't ever want to do this again. I never want to hear my voice again." And the thing that made it really click for me is when you said that you come back to it the next day and it's like, actually, there's something here that I can work with. And that's something that came up in the class too. The guy was like, um, when people hear their voices for the second, third, and fourth and fifth times, they hear stuff that they like. But the first time, all you hear is the shit.
yeah.
It's a good thing to know.
The really valuable thing about it too for me is like it's so overtly bad, like the things that, and like really it's like, are they that bad? Like, just that's like one layer
Uh
to
huh.
think about. But it's like the stuff that I look at and I'm like, that's so fucking bad. It's like, well then how do we make it not bad the next time? You know what, you know what looks bad. How do we fix it? Oh shit.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's a much healthier way to approach something than just like, fuck, it's bad.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's right. It's like when someone hands me a picture and they ask for critique and I just think it sucks. Here, it sucks. That's not helpful to them. That's not like, it doesn't do anything for me.
Yeah.
When I look at my own stuff and say it sucks, it's like
Yeah.
the goal is to not suck. Let's figure it out. We see that there's a problem.
The
It's
goal is to
easy
suck
to
less.
identify. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah. We
I
can
like the
get
way
there.
you just painted it. If I can just jump in, like we can agree that telling something they did sucks does not help them. And if we understand that and we agree to that, we can also say that we can apply that to ourselves. When we review our own behavior, our own thoughts, our own words, the dumb thing we said in the group yesterday that we thought was going to be funny and no one laughed. Um, that goal is to suck less. And we should forgive ourselves for failing because it turns out it's necessary. I don't know. I think like somehow, let's see, I'm about 10 years older than you, I think. So I'm not sure if it
Yeah.
was different for you growing up. You had a different kind of story than I did too in school and stuff. I never dealt with the bullying you're talking about, thank God. I'm fortunate in that sense. But for me, I think I grew up with this sort of idea that um, I never needed to suffer failure to do okay in life. Like that I should, a talented person should just like have success and then just like, what? You're smart, you go into the world, you have success. That's the way it works. Um and it wasn't until I was in my 30s that I heard someone tell me, actually, you're supposed to fuck it up and that makes you better and then you fuck up less. Whoa. Why didn't someone tell me that 20 years ago? Maybe someone hearing this will think, well, maybe we'll be doing someone else a favor hearing this. Who knows?
Maybe you're telling them 20 years ago.
I hope so. I hope so. I hope there's some hopelessly gaming addicted, stuck teenage person out there who suffers through a 3 hour long conversation between ex gamers.
Dude, let me just tell some gamers out there right now.
Okay.
All right, we get a sneak peek on the Deeg podcast. Give me one
Oh,
second.
this is going to be titillating, I'm sure. Look at that bald, beautiful man.
Another thing I've been doing is like printing a physical portfolio and like because whenever I go to like people and I'm like, I'd like to take pictures of your car, or like they're like, hey, I want to hire you, let me see your stuff.
Mm.
The worst thing you can do is just like randomly like schedule them and just like or not learn anything about them.
Yep.
But like the second or third worst thing you can do is like say, oh yeah, here's my Instagram.
Mm.
If you hand them something physical, like I have a binder, it's off to the side a little bit, but like
Mm-hmm.
it has my favorite shots that I've taken of cars arranged very specifically so that they communicate like a cohesive message. And like it's got a clear plastic cover on the front, and I've got like a couple film strips, like some Polaroids on it that I've taken like taped to the front, so it shows that there's personality and that like I enjoy what I do.
Yeah.
And so when people see other people's cool cars and stuff in my like portfolio binder, like it's the same thing as like I used to collect Yu-Gi-Oh and Pokemon cards.
Right.
Dude, saying like I have an Exodia, like a first edition LOB Exodia or like a base set Charizard, telling people that, showing them like a picture of it on your phone is like cool, but like handing them a binder that's got like cards in it, that's the move. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Sure.
I like before I was ever like into photography or like I was always curious about taking pictures, and I was like, I don't want to leave the house because I'm depressed and I hate being alive, but I
Mm.
want to do this. What can I do today? I
Mm.
was like, okay, I can I can take screenshots of like, like a raw in Guild Wars 2. I can like take like landscape screenshots in Skyrim, or like take like pictures, like take screenshots of like NPCs doing things and like figure stuff out that way. And that led to me just like walking around downtown Dallas with a camera, like
Mm-hmm.
doing street photography and like learning stuff out. But it's like it there came a point where it's like I want to take pictures of like cool people doing stuff, and I want to take stuff that like drives the internet crazy. And like anyway, she and I like we have good synergy because we like just like
Does this person have a name that it's out there in public? Can we shout them out?
I'm gonna hold off on that.
Yeah. Okay.
You can find them. You can find them. I just don't want to send anything that way.
Yeah. Fine.
But
Fine.
it's like NPCs and video like in seriously like if you're into the like booba role play and like outfits and Guild
Mm.
Wars 2 and fashion, it's cool. But it's
Mm.
like real people, it's more
Way,
fun. It's
way
like
cooler.
way more fun. So I don't know. It's cool to do.
There you go. There's some incentive for our gamers to get out there.
Yeah, it's just like it's just fun. It's fun to be able to like I don't know, like I was a weird gamer kid and like had no social skills, and now
Yeah.
it's like dude, I just love taking pictures and love like
Yeah.
working with people and helping them
Yeah.
express things and like
Yeah.
trolling and stuff. That's still
Sure.
stuff that I like.
Yeah.
It's
And
just like I got more refined at being social and like there's an art to it.
yeah.
And I told you this the other day. Oh my god, this is actually great. Um, when we were talking, and you were like, "Give me some things to like ask you about," and I said Michael
Right.
Jackson, and
Yes.
so I one of Michael Jackson's like songs came on the other day, and I was like, "Dude, what is this energy?" And I looked up like some of his live
Yeah.
performances, like on the Super Bowl halftime show, and like him just dancing. It's just like
Yeah.
he was like, his music was good, everything was good, but his energy and his presentation were like a 15 out of 10.
Yeah.
That's why people loved him.
Yeah.
And like, he did some weird shit, and it's just like, but like, his stage presence undeniable. And
Mm-hmm.
so like, me, it's like, I don't know, whenever like I'm doing pictures with people and they're like really just kind of like any kind of like portrait or anything, it could be anything, people are nervous when they're in front of a camera. And
Naturally.
if I like get really into it and like put on some cool music, that like when we were blasting like ACDC and classic rock songs at the lake with the Corvette,
Yeah,
like
baby.
with an American
Mm.
flag and shit, and I'm like
Yeah.
dancing and into it, I'm
Let's
like,
go.
okay, do this, turn this way, and then like put the camera up, take the picture. Like, it's just the presentation and the way that you present yourself
Uh-huh.
makes you feel better. Like, I felt like $1 billion. Like, I'm doing exactly, like, I'm doing cool shit that like I always wanted to do.
Yeah.
And they feel like $1 billion because they're the center of the attention,
Yeah.
and like,
Looking good.
you're there for
Yeah.
them, and like,
Yeah.
they're the only person that matters. And like, it was cool. Like, it's just fun. It's cool to be able to just do shit like that. And like,
Hell yeah, dude.
I
Hell
don't
yeah,
know,
dude.
like,
And the clues were there all along. The way you played these games, there were clues about what you could get out there and do. Same for
yeah.
me. Same for me. There are clues. Maybe it's the same for you looking into the camera. No, I'm not gonna preach that hard at people. Jesus. I'm old, but I'm not that old. Or maybe I am.
Maybe you are. I don't know.
Is there anything else we need to talk about, Preston? I have so enjoyed this conversation, brother.
What else did I give? Did I give you anything else to write down?
You mentioned something about like, see, here's the thing. I've got to decide to either seal off the podcast or go take another bathroom break
Okay.
because I have a
Okay.
pea-sized bladder apparently. So if you want to continue chatting, I'm cool, but I need a minute.
I'm good to go for a while longer, honestly. But
Okay. Well, let's
if
take a
not, it was a good time.
yeah. Let's do a short break.
So,
Come back.
okay. Sounds good.
3 minutes, like before.
Okay.
I think I need to figure out a headphone setup that's not these big cans for on a podcasting
You have
because
the
I think
ATH
I
and
look so
50X.
attractive just like this. Look at those domes. Take it off for a sec. Take it off for a sec. Let's just admire the dome. So round. Yeah, so you did prompt me to ask you about motion moving meditation.
Yeah, that also plays into kind of what I was talking about. It was like help like helping people get into the zone. Like, if you feel good, you just do everything better.
Hmm.
And you can feel better from like eating better and like taking better care of yourself, like we talked about. But when I get nervous, and like whenever I'm about to go do pictures and I'm like, ooh, I don't feel 100% confident in this, it's like meditating is like that's this is going to be interesting. Wow. Okay. So I am not a religious person anymore, but I've come to a point where I realize, I think, kind of the point behind some of it. I think people take it too far and do bad things with it. I'll probably always have that opinion. But, like, okay, prayer. I don't think anyone's listening to you when you pray. Like, I don't think that's a thing. But if you find something meaningful enough to want to express it to someone that can help, allegedly, that's kind of big. And like meditation, like, I don't like, people get really weird about meditation and like astral projection and like stuff like that.
Woo
I
woo
don't think
stuff.
it's I don't really think that's real. But if I think about like, okay, I got to do these pictures, I have a concept of what I want in my head. I'm going to close my eyes. I'm going to breathe. I'm just gonna like think about the different parts of my body and what they can all do to help me. So like my feet can move. My hands can press buttons and change camera settings and move the lights around. And I can feel my lungs and mouth open and close and the air go in and out. And that just like centers and focuses you. I
Mm-hmm.
did kind of an experiment. I'm going to experiment with this further.
Okay.
But like the other day when we went out to the lake, we got out there like 5:30 in the morning. Like it was still dark outside. And I was like, before we start, like, let's just breathe and like stretch for a minute. And
Mm-hmm.
like all of a sudden, it's like I went from being like kind of tired and a little bit on edge and kind of nervous to just being like, let's do it.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to try like going forward with like clients and stuff to just kind of like, let's take a moment, let's just breathe, like get everything in, like figure out like your arms can move this way, you can pose and do stuff, your arms will do that for you.
Yeah.
And then like pick on music. And like Michael Jackson didn't need to dance to like sing his music, but like the dancing is like what enamored people so much, just
Mm-hmm.
like the way he moved. It's just like
Mm-hmm.
humans can do that.
Yeah.
And
Totally.
so like if I'm like moving around like having a good time and stuff, like, and I can just have fun doing that and being energetic, that just like your elbow is going to naturally like do the thing that it needs to do, and like your
Yep.
fingers aren't just going to be like
Yep.
stiff when they're down at your side. You're going to like do things
Yep.
naturally with them. And like it just helps open up, and
Yeah.
like being open and just feeling good, breathing, like that's big. And like
Mm-hmm.
just little things like that, oh my gosh, like, yeah,
Yeah,
it's
man.
big. So I think that's another way that like genuinely like I can help serve other people, because it's someone's coming to me because they want something and they want to take the creativity that I have and borrow that for a while because that's what they're doing. Then like if my if we're exchanging our minds and the stuff in our heads, let's get it across easier. Let's make that pathway more
Mm-hmm.
open so we can
Mm-hmm.
communicate and flow.
Mm-hmm.
And
Scrape
it
off some
just
of the
helps.
crud. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, it was just it's really cool to just like take inspiration and like see things and just like, whoa, that could help. That could, yeah.
Yeah, brother. Now there's a huge amount of like I think I've felt that too, where like I don't know. I used to have this like kind of arrogance when I was young, like especially when I was a teenager, maybe early 20s, because I grew up with everyone telling me I was smart and I usually perform well on cognitive tasks. And like I didn't really believe that my mind was in any way subservient to my body. I thought it was the other way around. And it took me a while to realize, oh, like there are body things that change the way my mind works. And the biggest example of that for me today are the walks that I go on. On a good day, I'm
Yes.
usually out walking for an hour or two. I can't always make that much time for it, but if that's an ideal day for me. And it scrubs my mind. I think through things. Sometimes I don't think at all. Um, and I used to always go out with um, earbuds, listening to music, listening to a podcast. And then one day, my earbuds are broken. I was like, fuck, all right, gotta go for a walk anyway. And it's the last day I walked with earbuds because I so appreciated just being inside my own head and not having anyone else's energy or thoughts and being able to center on myself so squarely. Um, that's my sort of meditation, I guess, is and and the final nail in the coffin of the idea that my body is here to serve my brain, not the other way around.
I had a really fun kind of phrase come to mind, and I think it applies nicely to this in kind of an abstract way. So one of the things that like I gained through the experience that I had was like I
You mean
very
the beverage experience? The
yes,
experience. Okay.
the experience. I don't want to name names or get too specific, but like if you
Okay.
know, you like you probably fucking know what I'm
So
talking
funny how
about.
cool you are. Go on.
But it's like I was very distinctly not in my body for a while and like entered back into it, and it was weird.
Hmm.
And that made me realize like I just have to live in this for a while,
Hmm.
so I should probably take care of it.
Well, you got it.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And there were weirder thoughts that were like someone may have it after me. It's going to become dirt, and maybe that dirt becomes someone else's body. Do I really want to not take care of it? I don't like that's I don't in the moment it was like, but now it's just like I'm just going to die. Like whatever. Like
Yep.
I'm that's fine. But
Nothing you do will stop it.
another like thing that I had, a thought that I had was like learning to be more empathetic.
Yeah.
And this kind of phrase came to mind that I formed: empathy leads to diplomacy. Because if you understand someone, like, and you both have something to accomplish, let's sit down and understand each other and figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, fuck, I can be empathetic and diplomatic to myself and my own body.
What?
Because it's just like, yeah, it's like there's the I live here, like
Yeah.
just as much as I'm my body and mind live in this room that I'm in right now. It's like Preston lives inside of this body. I haven't done a good job of taking care of it most of my life, but I
Yeah.
can take better care of it. And it's like it plays a part on how this feels up here,
Yeah.
right? It's a two-way street. Like
Yeah.
it they affect each other. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, man, be empathetic to your own self. Like help other people, but like don't let it like don't wear yourself down doing it.
Yeah.
Don't let people take advantage of you. Just be a good person and just like learn limits and just do cool stuff. I
Amen,
don't know.
brother. I need to
Yeah.
get a sip of that juice someday.
I think you
I-
would like it. It
Yeah.
doesn't taste good, dude,
Yeah.
but like let me be honest, it's like it's fucking gross. It's
Uh-huh.
like drinking dirt water,
Yum.
but like it tastes better than Diet Pepsi or Mountain Dew in
Hmm.
the long run. In the long run, it's like Mountain Dew tastes good, makes you feel bad. Plant
Yeah.
juice tastes bad, makes you feel good. I don't know.
What's bad is good.
It's
What's good is
it's,
bad.
it's wild. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think this is a good time to give it to call it, Preston. I'm actually just running out of
for sure.
gas, man.
Sure.
Uh, dude, thank you for taking the time to catch up with me. This is going to be my first podcast of the year that I'll have recorded. Taken a long time off, mainly just because number one, I didn't know what the podcast needed to be or do, and number two, I don't know. While I was unemployed and dealing with that situation, I was struggling enough with trying to help myself. And the idea of being useful to anyone else seemed kind of distant. Now that I got that situation figured out, I feel like I'm ready to get back on the bike here. And you're the first of a few conversations that I'm having that I'm really excited about. Um, you probably don't need to hear it from me, but I'm fucking proud of you, dude. Like you worked hard on stuff, you've taken some risks, you've made some real changes. It seems like you're feeling a lot better. Um, I see a lot of me in you, and I'm sure that you feel the same about me. And I'm just proud of us, I guess.
Yeah.
And let's see what a couple of over the hill gamers can get done in this life. I think we'll surprise some people.
Yeah. And if you're listening right now and you're stuck and you're like, I want to do stuff, but like I don't know where to go. I don't know what to do. I'm gonna say right now, I'm proud of you.
Oh
And
yeah, Yeah.
maybe put this podcast on in a year and realize that was for you, whoever you may be. And does that mean anything to you or not? Did you do something cool? Regardless, though, you're cool either way. So,
Hell yeah. Hell yeah, man. Do you have
little
anything you
Easter eggs at the end.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Do you have anything you wanna promote or any places you want me to you wanna direct people?
Yeah, I'm all over the internet, UWV underscore Preston,
Mhm.
and Underworld Video. It's
Mhm.
at UWV underscore Preston at Underworld Video on TikTok. God damn it, I made a TikTok because I need to. That's at Underworld underscore video
Okay.
because I think I took the other one and then forgot about it and whatever.
Can't get back
It's
in.
okay. Um, underworldvideo.com. If you've seen my website in the past, it looks different now.
Mm,
Um, I've I rebuilt it and it's just car stuff basically.
cool.
But cars are going to get me. I haven't forgotten about wanting to tackle social problems. I just have to have resources and a portfolio to get me to a place where I can actually help
Yeah.
people without destroying myself.
You gotta
And
build up
so,
yourself before you can build up others.
yes, 100%. So we're gonna get there. We're gonna do it. I got
Cool, man.
big plans.
Cool, man. You're you're, is your full name out there? Preston,
Preston Taylor
your last
Collins.
name? Or do you prefer
Collins.
UWV Preston?
I don't care, dude. I've been called a lot of things. Being called
Dude, Preston
Preston is
Collins
like,
is a good name. I'm not sure if I was looking for car photos, if Underworld Video is the first thing I'd think of. Preston Collins is a good name.
yes.
Just something to think about from someone
I
who knows
I
nothing
made
about any of this shit.
the
You got the
design and the
tattoo.
logo.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
The
I made
underworld
that design
lives within.
in seventh grade in my English class in Christian school because I wanted to make something edgy and weird that people would look at and be like,
What is that?
and I just thought it was cool. So, I
Mhm.
mean, and I had just have a bunch of shit like that. Here's another thing. It's like, you may also be a person that like makes things and just sets them away. It's like I sat on that for like 10 years and was like, oh, I want to use it for this. Cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know, but it's just
I
yeah,
think I think that that's just the way life works. Stuff
yeah,
pings our attention. We got to move on with things, and then eventually life will find a way to reintroduce it to us, and then
yeah.
find ourselves squirming on the ground enjoying some juice.
Yeah.
Let's get out of here, man.
All
Um,
right.
Preston, thank you for taking the time, dude. Once again, go check out all his shit. And this has been the Deeg Podcast. Thanks for giving us a listen, and more soon. Love you guys. Peace out.